All agents are currently assisting other customers. Please stay on the line and your call will be answered in order.
Revenge does wonders for the will to live, don't you think?
Today's Nerd Fights was brought to you by the Corrigan Housing Authority. Are you tired of paying $1, $2, $3, even $10 a month for rent? Well, pay no more. Because at the Corrigan Housing Authority, you don't pay dollars at all. You pay Corrigan rounds. The official currency of Corrigan is bullets, and you're gonna need 'em. And also by these guys, because I guess for some reason they want to support Salty, those sons of bitch.
Computer and program?
And hey guys, welcome to our first new Star Wars Nerd Fights in a while. But before we actually get started, okay, I have to say that today's Nerd Fights is proudly brought to you by Fuel Up. Yes, Fuel Up. FU for short. Fuel Up. I try Fuel Up Wake. Why? Because it's just like crack, except you drink it.
A ringing endorsement. I'm sure they'll be thrilled with that. Very nice. I had mine this morning. You see my empty cup here.
Le shaker.
Yeah. So Yes, this is today. We finally have some new Star Wars content to talk about, which
Oh, joy.
And I am very, very curious. So before we do anything else, I want to get Mr. Danny's hot take on this, because I know how Jason feels about it, but I also know Jason is biased because of his love of Star Wars Rebels. So, Danny, being the person who's coming in fresh, what was your thoughts on these first two episodes?
Like a lot of confusion. Like one, like when in time in the Star Wars
You owe me
timeline
$10, Jason.
is this happening? So do I. In fact, thank you for that earlier, Jason. A lot of just a lot of. I guess I'm supposed to. I'm not doing homework. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do homework. I'm not going to go watch a bunch of cartoon episodes to know who these people are. And instead of making a live action Rebels season 4, 5, 6, whatever it is, they should do like Stan Lee had this rule back in the day when he was the editor at Marvel, and that was when somebody picks up a comic book, he wants his writers to be cognizant of the fact that might be the very first comic book they're reading. So the story needs to either be self-contained, or you would get those little yellow boxes at the bottom with an asterisk that would say like "See Amazing Spider-Man number 127" or something like that. And it didn't help that everybody seemed like their acting was like just stiff. It was really and the pacing was not. It just felt slow. The only stuff I like is the Ray Stevens character from the cartoon also.
I believe he is from Legends. So because they've been pulling a tremendous amount of stuff.
Just to help me.
He was the only badass.
He's Balin. He's Balin.
Bad guy.
Yeah.
They've been to the show.
Yeah. But a lot of this stuff comes out of either Legends or Extended Universe,
right? But
okay.
as far
which
as
is way outside of my level of exposure,
right? Yeah. But as far as viewing Star Wars, this is his.
He's new.
Appearance.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as canon is concerned, he's brand new.
I liked him. I liked his character a lot. I liked the scenes he was in. But I'd say 90% of these two episodes very estrogen heavy, and their acting just wasn't like I don't know, just they all kind of acted like Vulcans to me. It seemed very just like emotionless, very stiff, kind of like Ahsoka. I actually like Rosario Dawson, the actress, a lot, but she just seemed like really monotone. I don't know. And I just don't get the, like, who's Ezra? Why should I care about him? Like, who are these? I don't know. I feel very lost. If I'll be honest with you, if you guys weren't making me watch this, I would do one of two things: either not watch it or wait till they all come out and watch it all, and binge it. Right. Especially because apparently the remaining episodes are only about 30 minutes each, which hopefully means they'll be paced better, because there were a lot of conversations in this episode just felt like they drug on forever, just like, I don't know. So I was being a little snarky with the thumbnail with that loaded question. I don't
think that's unfair.
Actually, you're gonna get a kick out of my hot take, because I completely agree with your thumbnail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So basically, you thought that it needed better pacing, the acting was stiff, and it left you confused because you didn't know who all these people were.
Yeah, thank you. You summed it up. Yeah, that's it.
Which is almost verbatim what I told Jason you were going to say.
Right on. Okay.
That's because that was well, I won't give my hot take yet, but yeah, you're hitting on one of my big problems with it. But go ahead, Jason. Go ahead and give your hot take on the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka.
I don't even need to see the rest. I can already say with confidence that this series is the ultimate example of the unsolvable problem, and that is too much content. It really is. Everything that Danny said is 100% valid, because here's my follow-on. Other than the woodenness, especially from the person they cast to play Hera, I was all
Hera's
in.
the green chick, just so you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
the Twi'lek.
Yeah, she was,
Yeah.
and I usually like.
She was really not good. She, by the way, that actress is okay, but she's not awesome. And I've only, mildly enjoyed her in other properties.
She was in that Chickwick movie, right? What was it called? Like,
yes, she was the one that was in Japan.
Yeah,
she was.
I actually
okay.
really liked her in that.
She was okay in that. Like, that's probably the one movie for me that I could rewatch a few times over and not be upset about spending the time doing it. But she's been in a couple other things, and she's
she was Huntress, I think, in the Harley Quinn movie.
And yeah, but other than that, and I will agree on the pacing. The pacing felt slightly off. However, this is. And this just came to me while you were giving your take, Danny. This series, this is going to be Picard season 3 for people who love Rebels.
And I guess that's fair to say, because
which is a good thing in one sense, but it's a bad thing in the other. In that, the people that really loved Picard season 3 are people who consumed all of the TNG era stuff, in particular.
Sorry, no, I forgot to put on Do Not Disturb.
Okay, in particular TNG itself. So it's only super nostalgia bait for people who are absolutely all in. And then because this is not just Rebels but Ahsoka, for people who really enjoyed watching the Clone Wars cartoon and Rebels, it's extra special. And for the most part, if you watched Rebels, you're pretty much going to go back and watch Clone Wars, or vice versa. If you watch Clone Wars, you definitely went on to watch Rebels, because all of that confusion that you had absolutely is explainable if you do the homework. And this is not the homework show. This is the problem with a lot of this stuff. They've produced so much content. And unfortunately, I can say this with great confidence, there's a lot of people that don't like to watch cartoons once they get past a certain age. A lot. And unfortunately, because all these cartoons are absolutely canon and they're very good storytelling, they're never going to not be canon. I think Star Wars has got 2 problems, not just a writing problem when we have the issues with the mainline movies. I think Star Wars is now at the point where they're drowning themselves. And honestly, my answer to your question on the thumbnail, this is not going to save LucasArts. Yeah. I can tell you for 2 reasons. One, because people are just
the game company,
or Lucasfilm, sorry. The big reason is because no one's going to go do homework. They're just not. And they're going to feel completely lost like you. They're going to watch 2 episodes and they'll be done. Yeah, Clone Wars was first. And beyond that, and I can already see it, I watched the Joker's voice earlier today, and he was just looking for anything to pick on and got a bunch of stuff wrong because everybody's just dialed up to 11 to just hate on anything right now.
And I really wanted to like it. I did, man.
Yeah, and Disparu, while I was waiting for Mike to reboot, I queued it up and I got the first 4 minutes watched, and he's not even trying. He's just mocking things and taking them straight out of context. The fandom menace is out of control on this one, as far as I'm concerned, because I can be pretty sure that there's not going to be anybody that's going to say much else otherwise. But the simple reality is that this is good content. It's just at the end of too much. It's too much. I'm going to love every minute of it, but it's kind of like Star Trek. It's time to put it back in the fridge.
But to clarify, you're gonna love it because you did watch all the Rebels, right?
That's right. I watched all the Rebels and all the Clone Wars. I watched because there's 7 seasons of Clone Wars and 4 seasons of Rebels. And Ahsoka is in the first 5 seasons of Clone Wars, and she's in all 4 seasons of Rebels frequently. She's not a main character in it, but she's a very huge character. Because
when does this take place? Is this before?
This is all new. This is all New Republic.
Yeah, this takes place roughly same time as Mandalorian.
Yeah, so this is immediately following Mando season 3.
So this is between episodes 6 and 7, Jedi and
Correct.
Awakens. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, like there's so much for me to be happy with, but I know that this is like the swan song as far as I'm concerned. I just don't see how they're going to pull up. Like there's no intro. I mean, that little scrolly at the start, that's not enough. That's enough for me, but that's not enough.
Yeah.
It's like basically the best way I can put it is recently I had a very annoying experience with work where I went digging into documentation for internal processes. And you could tell the documentation was written by the person for the person who wrote it. Not for anyone else that comes along. It wasn't structured well. It didn't have any kind of additional information that was made obvious to go and look at. So it's the same kind of problem. Dave Filoni has made a great set of characters. It is not going to save Star Wars.
So.
It sucks because it's great. It's great stuff as far as I'm concerned. But unless you're into cartoons, man, you're done.
It's not that I'm not into cartoons. I like tons of animated stuff. I just, for whatever reason, I missed that boat, and there's so much of it to watch.
Well, no, I know. I mean, for you, I know you'd probably watch it if you had the time and there was, a bigger, deeper reason to do it. But a lot of people that are, between 30 and up, they don't like to watch cartoons anymore for some reason.
Yeah, I know. Like Jude over at Salty Nerd, she doesn't watch cartoons. She doesn't matter how good we say something is.
Yeah.
She's like, she doesn't like the animated stuff.
Is that your hot take then?
Yeah, I know it's a monster meatball of a hot take, but
well, I don't know if I call it meatball, more of a meat salad, I think. So I'm going to say that first of all, yes, this is definitely Rebels season 5, and the reason that everybody's talking about, and spoiler, not really, but just so you know, Danny, the reason everybody keeps talking about Ezra was the main character of Rebels, and in the last episode of Rebels, he disappears.
So the chick that survived the stabbing, what was her name? Sabine, I think.
Sabine, yes.
Yeah. Sabine. Was she and Ezra like a couple? Were they like an item or something?
If I swear they were inferring it that there was like
more like brother sister.
Yeah, either way, the
way she touched his face on the mural.
Yeah.
I mean, I was getting vibes like you
have to keep in mind that the people in that mural, one of them is dead. And who died just before Ezra disappeared. So one of them dead, one of them is missing, and they were a very close-knit family for years and years and years. Ezra was a little boy at the beginning of Rebels and was a man at the end of Rebels.
Yeah, he was like 14 years old at the beginning of the show.
Yeah. But Rebels takes place over more than just the time of the series. It's more than 4 years from the beginning of the series to the end of the series. Yeah. So this is their family. There is no one that Sabine and Hera care about more than Ezra, but he's missing, and they presume dead at the end of season 4. However, also at the end of season 4, which if you saw my intro where it kept cutting back and forth between the cartoon and the in the live action, because they duplicated a scene from the cartoon, because that's the last scene from the cartoon from the final episode of season 4, where Sabine says, "It's time we go looking for Ezra." And so
And that's where where she's standing at the mural, I guess.
yeah, when she walks
Okay.
up to the mural, touches the mural, turns around, Ahsoka's there, and the two of them fly off into the sunset. That is in the last episode of Rebels. The people that complain about the estrogen levels of the show, which I know will be many.
I wasn't complaining. I just was like,
no, I know you.
No, I know you just
It's
felt
like one
a little
white
high.
dude, and he's a bad guy.
You were making a snarky comment, but you also don't know the background and all that.
That's and this is the homework aspect problem
Right.
cropping up.
All these
again.
characters have been on the show for years, and so the fact that there were two dudes on the show, three if you count the cat dude.
Zeb, the big. Remember the big,
Zeb,
the big purple guy that we saw in Mando season 3, Danny?
Yeah,
he's one of the characters from Rebels.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there were three dudes on the crew, but one of the dudes is missing. One of the dudes died, and the other one joined the Republic, and we saw him in Mando season 3, where he's a Republic sheriff basically, or enforcer, or whatever they call him.
Yeah.
And so but I have a feeling he's going to come back. I
think so too. I don't think they'll do this without having him show up.
Right. But here's the problem, and where I think this show really struggles. First of all, let me say this. I think this is the best looking Star Wars, period. I think, man, when there were ships on screen, I was just in heaven. I thought that looks so freaking good. I was just mind blown every time I was looking at a spaceship. And in fact, my favorite thing about, if I could say anything, is finally Star Wars has Star Wars in it. Because, for the longest time, we didn't have any kind of ship combat, and we actually had some ship combat.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice to see again. I really, really missed it.
Actually, like the music. I meant to say
music was really
music
good.
was good.
They pulled a lot of that music from the cartoon, by the way, and
really?
on purpose. Yeah. Well, actually, what's funny, on purpose, I watched the last 2 episodes of season 4 last night before Matthew and I went downstairs and watched the 2 episodes of Ahsoka. And oh man, that just had the music they have in that show, frankly, over the longer period is as bad as the crazy Irish music stuff from Battlestar Galactica. It just stabs you right in the heart.
Yeah, that's right. Don't listen to Jason and I watched the last 2 episodes because I've got a nerd card. I watched all of
you had to get caught up.
I watched all of season 3 on Monday and all of season 4 on Tuesday before watching the show.
Oh wow.
And
so you put in the homework. Yeah,
I did.
You did.
But you know what? It was absolutely worth it, because that was my biggest problem with the show, is I immediately knew that anybody that hasn't seen Rebels is going to be hopelessly lost, because you don't know who Ezra is. They don't explain who Sabine is.
I don't even really understand the people we do see. I don't really understand their relationship to one another.
Right, that's the problem. They just assume that you just know that Sabine is a Mandalorian badass that also was trained by a Jedi in how to fight with a lightsaber. But you don't know because you didn't watch the show, and in fact, she was the first one to wield the dark saber before Bo-Katan.
Sabine?
Sabine gave the dark saber to Bo-Katan.
Yeah,
that's how Bo-Katan got it.
Yeah, and the Kreese clan was actually against her family clan.
Yeah. Because her family was basically traitors. They went with the Empire, but and so there was this whole drama with the Mandalorians in the cartoon, but you would have no idea about that. You wouldn't know about why would why is Ahsoka even there? How does she know these people? Why would she care about Ezra? By the way, Ezra, the only person in Star Wars who, along with Ahsoka, actually, who has time traveled. So the
Wait, what? There's time travel?
Yeah.
there was time travel in Rebels.
Yeah.
And so Ahsoka would be dead if not for Ezra's time travel shenanigans. And so he saved her from none other than Darth Vader.
Yeah, which is, by the way, one of the most badass saber fights ever is Ahsoka Tano taking on her former master as Darth Vader at the end of season 2 of Star Wars Rebels.
That actually does sound cool.
It's
I might have to check
freaking
that out.
awesome.
Which there's going to be a rematch of that too, because I've heard Hayden Christensen is in the show.
Well, do you think they're going to do like a flashback redo?
I don't know if they're going to. No, I don't.
Because because Vader's dead.
Oh, that's
remember.
Well, no,
right.
But they actually there's 2 women cast as Ahsoka because there's a young Ahsoka.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe they're going to do. That'll be interesting to see. Yeah.
But yeah, we haven't seen young Ahsoka yet.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe fans of Rebels or Clone Wars might not like it, but I, as somebody who hasn't watched those, would appreciate maybe some just remake it live action flashback type of important story beats from that stuff.
I think it's the only way that. So here's the caveat on my big meatball. If they actually do something like that throughout that throws in enough basic information, it could make the rest of the season work. And make it accessible to everybody.
Right. The problem is that they didn't give you enough information up front for the uninitiated. And so for someone who doesn't already know these characters, it's a big pile of WTF.
Yep.
And that is the biggest weakness of this show. As far as I'll say this, I don't think that the problem with the acting that you were talking about, I rewatched it today. I don't think the problem is necessarily an acting problem as much as this Hollywood female-itis issue, in that Hollywood thinks that in order to make a woman strong, you have to take away her emotions.
that's a problem.
Yeah, strong women are always stoic, and the problem is that you have 3 strong women as the leads of this show, and so they're all basically standing around like pillars of salt when instead of really because they should be very emotional over some of the stuff that's going on. The fact that Ahsoka and Sabine at this point hadn't seen each other in probably about 10 years. Because there is a big time jump at the end of Rebels, because Rebels, most of the series takes place before the Battle of Yavin, the first Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the last episode, they then time jump to several years after the Battle of Endor, and that's when Sabine and Ahsoka hook back up to go look for Ezra, who's been missing since before the Battle of Yavin.
So were these 2 episodes basically like a live action remake of the last episode of Rebels?
Only like 3 minutes at the very end of episode 2.
Yeah, that part that I cut back and forth with in my music video, that's the only scene that was borrowed. But it's just kind of interesting because we got a little bit more back. And the funny thing is, it actually works because in the episode, that scene is the only scene that takes place in that time, so to speak, because they jump forward. They say, after the war, this happened, and I stayed on Lothan, which is the planet they're on, Lothal, and it's Sabine narrating. And then she's looking at, and then you see her walk in and looking at the mural, and then Ahsoka shows up and she says, "But it's about time we go find Ezra," and then she goes off with Ahsoka. And so in this episode, we just get a little bit more backstory on that as to why did Ahsoka show up? What are they really going to do? And the fact that, okay, if and another big spoiler, Admiral Thrawn was the big bad from the Rebels show. And so Admiral Thrawn disappeared with Ezra in that last episode because Ezra
he sacrificed himself to do it.
To get rid, because Admiral Thrawn is, let's just say, he makes Lex Luthor look like a freaking idiot. Okay, he is such an insanely brainy tactician,
and merciless. I would say he's even worse than the Emperor.
Yeah, he's more merciless than the Emperor, Vader, Tarkin all rolled into one. He is incredibly intelligent, and he anticipates your every move.
See, the problem with this is the same problem we get with like Strange New Worlds and every other prequel. Clearly, that dude's going to not make it because he's not in the sequel trilogy. Yeah, this takes place before Force Awakens.
Yeah, but who cares about Force Awakens?
Yeah, I don't, but it's there.
Well, see, the problem and the desperate hope that everybody has is that a component from the Rebels show that we got to see, which is the Veil of the Force, which is the device, shall we call it, that allows people to time travel,
and
could change history into the future, which in effect they could canonically fork the road and make a whole new pile of Star Wars and just simply ignore what we got with 7, 8, and 9.
Right. Yeah, in theory, if they use the World Between Worlds, which only Ahsoka and Ezra have ever done.
And Palpatine showed up in there.
Palpatine tried to, but he couldn't enter it without Ezra.
And I want to before Kermit gets a little even more heated, we do look at the chat. I would like to acknowledge the chat. Thank
I'm sorry,
all 16.
We were just giving her here, so let's take a minute.
Watching us right now. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up and everything like that. But sorry, Kermit. We are.
Yeah, we're not ignoring you guys. This is just. We have a lot to talk about here, and let's look at some of the questions. Like I know Stan Lee asked a couple of questions. Wanting to know if it took place over holiday weekend because there was no traffic on the highway. I will tell you that, Stan, that's because, and this is, I don't know, I'm mixed on it, but they did not. When you look at that planet, and what's it called again?
Lothal.
When you look at Lothal, it is a perfect, and I mean perfect, recreation of what was in the animated series. Everything that was in the animated series is recreated in live action absolutely flawlessly, including that road. That road is in the animated series.
The Highlander, was he in the cartoon?
Yes.
The actor that was in the first.
Oh yeah, the Kurgan. Yeah, he actually played the voice
character in the cartoon. Yeah,
he actually does the voice of that character in the cartoon. So they managed. That was really cool.
When I saw him, that was one of those Picard memberberry moments for me.
Yeah. I about fell over.
Start talking. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they even made the character Ryder Azadi. They even made him kind of look like Clancy Brown in the cartoon. So it was awesome to see him brought in. But for the record, the long road to nowhere is a road only out to that comms tower. Right. Nobody goes on it ever in the cartoon. Right. So it's kind of an inside joke.
But, and here's the thing. I get it. It seems stupid to have roads when you're on speeders and all that and all that. But they were just duplicating what was already established.
Exactly. Yeah.
This was not some creative choice for the show. They were like, no, we're going to recreate this world. And the road is stupid, but we're going to recreate that road because that's what they did.
Did the cartoon also have the punk rock music that Sabine was jamming to? Because that was a little different for Star Wars.
Sabine was that character was Sabine.
Yeah,
fact,
that was
Sabine
very much.
It's the one character I thought they really nailed.
Yeah, she's a crazy, like, angry artist kind of person. She's constantly tagging everybody's crap, leaving graffiti
including her
everywhere.
armor.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's
That's
just
why her armor looks so weird, is because she's constantly painting it different colors. And she reminds me of my daughter. I told my daughter that Sabine is her spirit animal, because she's constantly changing her hair, she's changing her armor, she's just, she's
never satisfied with the way something looks. Yeah.
But yeah, so and as far as the way that I actually, when she was attacked at her at the comm tower where she was living, I really like the fact that they didn't try to make her like super duper strong for her size. The way that she beat them was by being fast and able to,
and smart, like getting the blaster on the over the shoulder,
right,
to blow the heel off that.
And that's how she fought in the cartoon.
Yeah,
she's a Mandalorian, so she knows how to fight. She was born and bred to fight.
Yeah,
and in fact, she's probably, of the team, she's on squad with 2 Jedi, a giant cat man. And she's probably the best fighter of the team. So, and
all around,
yeah. And even though she doesn't have any sensitivity to the Force, she can actually professionally wield a lightsaber.
Yeah,
she is badass.
So wait, so she's not Force sensitive? Because
no, she is not.
No, and that Jedi robot made a very stinging point of pointing that out to her. Remember in episode 2, he goes, of all the however many hundreds of years that robot's been around,
and he, by the way, was also in the animated series, voiced by David Tennant. And he basically said, in this.
Yeah, and he said, you are still not as qualified as any of the Padawans that have ever come before you.
Yeah.
Because,
she's just not Force sensitive. She would never be picked by the Jedi Order. But she's such a badass that she can fight a Jedi.
Yeah. So she's not even like Donnie Chen's character from Rogue One. She's not even that, or Donnie Young. She's not even that good with the Force. She's just, Mandalorian. So
I guess I thought that fight where she got stabbed, I thought she used some Force, but maybe, I guess
she never.
She only ever used physical contact to deal with her.
Right. Okay. And I'm sure they'll get into it as the season progresses. Just like Din Djarin, she's got all the gadgets in her armor.
So she's got like the lasso and the wrist shield and all that stuff. Actually, I don't know if you ever watched the whole thing, but there was that one episode in season 3 when she was doing the training with Kane and Jarrus. But I'd messaged it to. No, I know you've seen it, Mike, but I'd messaged you the season and episode number, Danny. I don't know if you ever watched it or not.
No, I honestly didn't get to watch it. I'm sorry.
And yes, Danny, she does have a jetpack.
Yeah. So she's extremely combat capable. So nothing of what we saw, like anybody at this point, like I'm going to just make one quick disclaimer. Every single person's videos out there that tries to go whamming or anything, they either have never watched the cartoons or they're in it for the hate. And that's it.
Yeah.
Because I saw 0 in this entire 2 episodes that is at all supportable to make the claim that this is whammons.
Yeah, none of them did anything that they haven't done 1,000 times in the animated series. Already.
And failed at doing too, in the animated and in this, because Sabine wasn't the unbeatable woman. She got shanked through the side.
I did think it was
the
funny.
Robot successfully got the map from her.
Yeah.
So. And
I did like in your video how you pointed out that apparently the only person to die getting stabbed by a lightsaber was Qui-Gon Jinn. So
poor guy. I mean, he's a Force ghost, probably sitting there going, "Come on!"
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
For real? Who is anybody gonna die? You know?
Yeah.
And then
So-
Obi-Wan shows up and says, "Well, I just voluntarily came when Vader hit me." So you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it only left an appendix scar the size of a lightsaber blade
Yeah.
on both sides. Because come on, they weren't going to roll her over to show us.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
at the same time, that scar was. I mean, look, I don't know what these back to sprays and stuff can do, but jeez.
Theoretically, if you stay in back to tanks or whatever long enough, it's supposed to be like Star Trek level fixie.
Yeah, but they didn't even show her in a back to take. She just wakes up in bed and
Nah, I
like,
know.
oh
I
yeah,
know.
look, you got a little scab.
Well, maybe because they had access to all the new Imperial tech that they're not supposed to be using. They had like back to pads or something.
Yeah, that's new
Yeah.
stay free back to pads.
Right.
If you're not feeling fresh and you have a hole in your chest, try new stay free back to pads.
Yeah. And hello, Dinner Bells. I was on to the Wikipedia site and I checked. It's 9 ABY, so it's right in line with season 3.
They in the last episode of Rebels, they did give the date.
Well, and this clearly is shortly after
Yes, it's a few
her
years.
appearance in Mando, because the chick that she fought and captured in Mandalorian season 3 was the one they broke out. Ray Stevens' character broke out of that ship. I forget her name, but the
Morgan. You can call her Morgan
yeah.
Le Fay because we're going to talk about it. She's a witch. So
okay.
Yeah.
My pretty.
Which is another homework thing, which is heavily exposed in
which
the
makes her
Clone Wars.
basically makes her a relative of Darth Maul.
So Star Wars, we got witches now in Star Wars.
Oh yeah, and that's something that's not something made up just for the cartoons either. That's like a Star Wars Legends extended universe thing,
right.
And like I said, they just pulled from all of that to
Darth
create.
Maul is directly descended from the witches.
He's not, but he's the witches of Dathomir. No. He's his species and the witches of Dathomir are all super intertwined.
Okay.
They're not the same race of people or whatnot, but yeah, they're very interconnected.
Well, Stanley, I wouldn't say. I mean, there's no witches in any of the trilogies, like
No,
the prequel, the original, the sequel trilogy.
Live action appearance.
Yeah, everything else has been in Dave Filoni's cartoons.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the, I mean, like I said, my favorite thing about the show though was the ship porn. It was so good. This show absolutely deserves, at least so far for me, the Emmy Award for Best Visual Effects. And hey James, how you doing? But now here's my thing. Like, people were talking about Star Wars fatigue and stuff like that. I don't think that's the problem. I think that Dave Filoni is making a mistake in trying to make Star Wars into the MCU. Which that's a mistake. I think that there should be, like, the movies has a continuing storyline, the Skywalker saga. As poorly as it ended, that's what the movie saga is. It's the Skywalker saga.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have the Mandalorian, totally different storyline, totally independent of the movies. You don't have to watch the movies to enjoy the Mandalorian. And you don't have to watch The Mandalorian to enjoy the movies. It's an independent show that happens to be in the same universe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they should continue that vein. They don't need to have everything interact with everything else. Just find another niche that hasn't been explored, plop an interesting character in there, and go with it. And instead of trying to make everything intertwined, which was the mistake, by the way, in my opinion, of Mandalorian season 3, because, you know, Mandalorian season 3 was all about Bo-Katan and stuff that went back to the cartoons and stuff, and people, and I think a lot of the hate for Mandalorian season 3 came back to some of the same problems. If you didn't watch the cartoons, you didn't know what the heck was going on, really. It didn't, this didn't mean anything to you as far as Bo-Katan getting the Darksaber and taking Mandalore and all that. That meant nothing to you. But if you watched the Clone Wars all the way through and you knew how, what all the whole backstory to that, this might have some more emotional resonance to you.
Yeah.
And
so
yeah, and I agree.
Alex is asking a question here. I'm slowly marching us down through the comments here on things
sorry, I know
we should talk about here too. So did any die during Order 66? I'm assuming this is a reference to the Jedi.
This takes place long after
this is obviously way after Order 66, and we
even,
do know for a fact
even Rebels takes place after Order 66.
Order 66,
so,
and we know for a fact that a ton of Jedi escaped.
Yeah,
we just don't know
that
the
in
exact
Rebels
number.
that Obi-Wan was not the only Jedi.
Yeah.
So these the bad guys,
the not quite Sith, but definitely.
That's what I was going to
Jedi.
ask. Like, are they if they're not Jedi and they're not Sith? I mean,
well, remember that droid, and this is another thing you don't know because you didn't watch the cartoon. So that droid that was voiced by David Tennant, the English accent droid, he basically helped design and build every lightsaber ever. He is in the cartoons. I mean, so like every Padawan, when they go to design a lightsaber, they put their design together and they show it to that droid, and he records their That's why when they asked him about looking at the lightsabers, because he knows what every lightsaber made by every Padawan was, and he recognized the dude's lightsaber, but not the girl's. Yeah. Which means that she's his apprentice. She's new, but he's probably either an escaped Jedi or escaped Padawan from Order 66 that turned to the dark side.
Yeah,
and it looks like they're mercenaries, from what we can see.
At the least, they're mercenaries. Yeah, but they could be Sith-ish. But we won't know until we see the rest of the series. Yes, Sith adjacent. Yeah.
Well, isn't there a thing called like gray Jedi or something like that?
There's a hot debate in the
There's no such thing as a gray Jedi. We shall not mention gray Jedi.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's controversial, but basically you're Jedi, Sith, or you're just a straight up Force wielder.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just joking around, but yeah.
But that's basically how the debate goes, because
I am of the anti-gray Jedi camp.
Yeah. People tried to make an argument for the gray Jedi because the first time that Ahsoka showed back up in Star Wars Rebels, she was wielding 2 white lightsabers. So people leaned in on the idea of gray. And there might be some carryover from debate about what the situation is or isn't with non-affiliated Force wielders from like the Legends material. But I run deep on watching all the visual content from Star Wars, but I don't go to the extent of reading all the Star Wars Legends material. That's like, even going down that road is even deeper than being a comic book nerd. Like, that's an enormous volume of content.
And Twinkle Teaches says PayPal you a tip, but not sure if talking to you or me.
Oh.
And this comment from your mother, Penny, is exactly the problem that we're talking about. Oh my gosh, I meant individual episodes.
Yeah. Wasn't me, so it must have been you, bud.
And the answer to Penny, if she does hear this later, I saw that she said
she was listening on the way. So,
well, if she still hears this now or later, the answer is all of them. there is no selection you can really pick from. Not really. I mean, one could go through and I could pick out a bunch of throwaway episodes to skip, but
oh no, I did. Okay, thank you. She just did it directly instead of through the stream. So thank you for that, Twinkle.
So yeah, you used the wrong account then, Twinkle. I mean, assuming you want the show to continue, wrong account.
This is the saddest part of this entire
Oh man, I know,
series.
because he died in real life, and I'm really digging his character.
Uh-huh.
And
I think when we get to the end, we're
Kind of a
gonna
badass.
all get kicked right in the feels, knowing that that'll be the last thing that he ever acted in.
Right. I just hope he dies in the show.
I know it sucks, but it's like they better kill his character by the end, because there's no way that you'd get anybody to replace him.
Yeah, I really do
such an
like
actor.
every
just
scene he was in was
having force power. He just looked like you don't. This guy was the first guy since Vader that it's like, oh, you don't want to mess with him.
Yeah,
And he's like what, 6'4", 6'6", or something like that. Yeah. Like he's a big dude.
And that girl is like an attack dog next to him.
Yeah,
I mean, the two of them make a great pairing, because he just looks like an unstoppable force, and she's just zipping around, just cutting people to pieces and enjoying it.
Yeah, just being angry.
Yeah. And Qui-Gon Jinn, thank you so much. So decided to get me
super tip.
Oh man, let me pull it up.
What did he say? Yeah,
I gotta bring it up here. I didn't. Let's see. Oh, again. Yeah. I need the password. Blah blah blah. Log in. All right, so
I thought it was Disney XD.
No, it's what do you mean?
Well, Stanley was asking where did the cartoon show, and then Kermit says Cartoon Network. I thought it was
originally it was Disney XD, and it depends. Up here in Canada, it would have been on like Cartoon Channel of some kind.
Okay.
All right, so Qui-Gon Jinn says, "Why do people expect me to continue to survive a lightsaber through the chest? This is outrageous, and it's not fair." Poor Qui-Gon. We need justice for Qui-Gon.
Right.
Yeah. I wouldn't necessarily agree with this statement, Dinner Bells. I would say they ruined the Star Wars storytelling opportunities with the 7th, 8th, and 9th movie. Everything else is pretty solid, because if we didn't have 7, 8, and 9, and we were going into Thrawn right now, this could honestly be an amazing setup for an absolutely epic trilogy of movies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they are talking about doing a movie based on what we're seeing right now. Like they're saying that
Filoni's supposed to get a movie after
right,
this,
yeah.
right?
Filoni's supposed to get a movie that's going to be the climax of Ahsoka and Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian and stuff, and all that's going to come to a head probably with Thrawn. Because I will tell you, Thrawn is the kind of villain that will not be, no matter what happens, he will not be defeated this season. I mean, there's no way win, but he will not be taken down.
No.
Because he is that good. It literally took magic space whales coming out of nowhere to stop him last time, because he didn't see that one coming.
So Stan, I have to ask, and I know I'm way behind in the comments running here.
Yeah.
But this statement, I have to ask, are you talking about the very weird style,
blocky look of the character?
but hold on though. See, there's technically 3 Clone Wars. There's this weird Clone Wars that's done like
we're not talking about the hand-drawn one. That's the original Clone Wars. The Tartakovsky Clone Wars.
Not a fan of that one at all. And then there's the Clone Wars miniseries, which was the screener, tester, pilot.
Yeah, that was basically the premiere of
the regular Clone Wars. And the second Clone Wars is the goods, as far as I'm concerned, is the good stuff. And yeah, it's a little stiff in its animation style, but at least it looks 3-dimensional. The other one was just terrible.
And I will say
it's like Powder Puff Girls is what the other one looks like.
Looks a little better, but it's still that style I'm not a fan of.
For the people, yeah. Now what's funny is
except for the Star Destroyers, I think
the spaceships and the planets at distance actually rival or are better than Revenge of the Sith
Except for
in
the
a
Star
lot of
Destroyers.
cases.
The Star Destroyers look stupid.
They have in Rebels. They look a little oddball because they do that strange
extend the neck.
embellishment with the control tower.
Yeah. And which makes no sense. Tom says we need 10 Baby Yoda movies. I second
No. No.
Absolutely, because what you can do is have the next Star Wars movie take place 300 years later, and Baby Yoda is now a spry adult, whatever his species is, starting a new Jedi Order.
Yeah.
So
and
now
I wouldn't
Yoda.
I wouldn't say that this is an accurate statement. I would say that we've had a mix of Star Wars, both good, bad, and medium.
See, I'm one of the weirdos because I enjoyed Obi-Wan. And I know everybody hates me for that.
Hey, I got one of my best friends here also really liked it too. So
you're not by yourself. When Obi-Wan kicked Darth Vader's ass, that was so epic. I just can't not love that.
Yeah.
And then with Andor, I agree with people that say that it looked really nice, but it confirms that the Empire did nothing wrong.
I remember.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. If it wasn't for Rebels,
release the hounds. I'm sorry. Okay, Obi-Wan sucked. I'm sorry.
Oh man. All the dogs were barking.
And Danny comes back, he's all bloody and stumped for a hand. And no, I mean, I get that a lot of people didn't like Obi-Wan because it is an overdone premise that you have a classic hero who is no longer at his good heroic self and needs to get his mojo back. However, I think it was well done, as opposed to what they did, like say with Luke Skywalker in the movie that shall not be mentioned, where he's never redeemed. And even when he does finally do a fight, he doesn't even really show up. He literally phones it in through the Force. That was
dumb.
Yeah. I hated that, but I could enjoy that. So I think that the Star Wars on Disney Plus has actually been overall very entertaining. Although, like I said, as far as Andor is concerned, and by the way, Rebels confirms it, because Saw Gerrera is an absolute terrorist who started the war.
Well, yeah, as far as we get the full character arc, because of what we saw happen with Saw in Clone Wars and also in Rebels.
And that is Forrest Whitaker in Rebels, isn't it?
Yeah, he's doing the voice all the way through. Yeah, so it was really cool when they actually made sure to style the character that way in the show, and then they were able to pull him and put him into Rogue One.
Yeah, Anthony, your understanding is correct. I refused to finish watching it. Didn't finish reviewing it with these guys because
because
Michael.
he's a wuss.
Yeah, it was with Salty
Kenobi.
Nerds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Us?
It was. Well, I know it was Michael because I stopped watching it, so I can't remember if it was on our show or their show.
It was Salty Nerds. Yeah,
it was a Salty Nerds. Okay.
And I actually, I know I'm in the minority as far as people liking Obi-Wan, but I think Kenobi actually had a redemption arc where Luke did not. And so I liked that.
They ruined Luke Skywalker. They
absolutely did. And I think the problem is a lot of people thought they were doing the same thing with Kenobi that they did with Luke.
The problem with
yeah, Tokyo, tell us how you really feel. I'm with you on that.
Okay, so this is the best way that I'll put it. The reason why I gave Obi-Wan so much grief is because all they had to do is called Dave Filoni. And does that make me some big Dave Filoni fan? Maybe. And if it does,
you're just a
sue
Dave
me.
Filoni fanboy.
But the simple fact of the matter is the same complaint that we've been having about Star Trek, which, by the way, I have to say as a side note, Nitpicking Nerd on his Major Grin channel has been having an absolute party at the expense of Star Trek with regards to pointing out how absolutely and tragically flawed that show is across all ages. If you actually think that your part of Star Trek that you like the most is accurate and consistent. He's been absolutely tearing it a new one from this side of the planet to the other. And as reference to that, the reason why, Dave Filoni's consistency across his storytelling is like J.R.R. Tolkien level, keeping your crap straight in making sure that all your characters are consistent and all your story and plot lines are consistent throughout the entire telling of everything. The episodic stuff, the serialized stuff, all of it just sticks together. All they had to do was hand it over to a guy that was at least going to helm the ship in that kind of a level of control. And what we got was, frankly, slapstick. We got bad writing, bad acting, bad directing.
That's where I'll disagree with you on that.
I know, but the masses, the masses highly agree with most of us.
You know what?
Just because Cliffs and Jumping and Friends and everybody else. Yeah, I know.
Just
Insert axiom
because
here.
all your buddies agree with you doesn't make you right.
Well, I want to say, Kermit, that was the same for me. You know, I think I watched 2 or 3 episodes of Kenobi before I checked out. And Ariel, yes, I doing an all-in, the 2018 all-in on Friday, and then if I can get somebody to join me on Sunday, I'm going to do the 2023 all-in Sunday night. So yeah, try to blow the dust off the wrestling show. Try to bring that back, but yeah. And Ariel thinks that you're.
Yeah,
I don't know. You're not upset,
Jason. Getting mad now.
Oh no, I'm absolutely in love with this show. I think this show is great.
You're arguing.
Yeah, Ariel's going to force choke me from across the internet.
Yeah, right.
So we should probably talk about the show a little bit.
Yeah, let's. Yeah.
And I mean, we'll try not to spend too much time on each thing, but I do want to say this sucked.
The vertical scroll was dumb.
Yeah,
they should have.
All
they should have
do was turn it into the classic Star Wars scroll, because it's even look like the all cap words and all that.
Yeah. Okay. So I have to say this about this. There's a rule that was established. Only the mainline movies get the slant back scroll.
Yeah, but this looked really dumb.
Yes. The fix is to fade in and out each paragraph. Don't vertical scroll it. That's all they had to do.
Yeah, you
to
could
fix
do that,
this.
or you know what would be better? I think it would cost a few bucks, but you would do better. Would be to have it narrated and have some show don't tell moments. Like, for example, when they say the evil galactic empire had fallen, first of all, you can use existing footage of the Death Star blowing up and the statue of Palpatine being torn down and stuff like that. And you could have Sabine narrating it just like she did at the end of Rebels.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They could have done that. They could have done that. And they even could have gone and, even though I know I can offer this as an option for scenes, they could have pulled the Star Destroyer crashed onto Jakku from the 7th movie, because that battle is canonical regardless of the rest of the movie, so that's fine. They could have used it.
And then as far as the when they start talking about Grand Admiral Thrawn, now what a great teaser this could have been. They should have had like an out of focus shaky cam recreation of when Ezra and Thrawn were wrapped up on the bridge with the tentacles flying around, and and going into light speed.
Sorry, I'm laughing. Ariel thinks the Ewoks ate the stormtroopers.
They
That's
did.
funny.
The Ewoks absolutely.
The
ate
Ewoks are
stormtroopers.
cannibals.
If you watch that show, the Ewoks had stormtrooper helmets and there were no heads in them. And remember, earlier in that same movie, they were going to cook Chewbacca, Han, and Luke in a dinner in honor of C-3PO. They eat people.
That's funny.
So, yes, they absolutely ate. When they were having their big old party celebrating the fall of the Empire, they were eating stormtroopers. I'm sure that Han and Luke and everybody didn't realize it until afterwards. And they were like, man, what was in that stew? You know, I don't know, but it sure did taste good. Wait a minute. Is this a transmitter? And Kermit, I'm sorry. I know you put some comments in there and trying to keep up, and I can't read the chat very well from this distance. But I know you. You made it to the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight scene, but you said you turned it off midway through the show. You couldn't have turned it off midway through the show if you saw Obi-Wan and Vader fight. Not if you saw.
You talking to me?
No, I'm talking to
Kermit.
Because Obi-Wan, the real fight between Obi-Wan and Vader was in the last episode, and it was epic. It actually was, and anybody that says it wasn't watching that episode. Even if you hate the show, that was a good fight.
There was no I think when I stopped watching it, there was a fight, but a fire separated them, and I was like, "This is ridiculous." He could have just forced pulled them in.
That was not the main fight. That was
that was way early. Yeah, that was like halfway
Obi-Wan
through.
Basically, Obi-Wan was not even trying to win that. He was just trying to distract Vader so that Leia could get away.
No.
And it was somebody else who actually shot and lit the fire back up. So
yeah. And so the first fight was a distraction by Obi-Wan. The second fight, when Obi-Wan actually showed what a Jedi Master is capable of, was awesome. Anyway, and then we see former Jedi Knight Ahsoka Tano captured one of Thrawn's allies, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and I have to make a quick note on that right here. For
we could have
who
seen a
tries to claim
flashback to
otherwise.
Mandalorian.
Yeah. There are people out there that are trying to claim that Ahsoka was not a Jedi Knight. She was, in fact, endowed with the title at the end of season 5 of Clone Wars, and she rejected it because she was no longer trusting of the Jedi Council, because she, unlike most of the rest, could see the dangers coming and that there was corruption deep
It's
within.
funny. She is the T'Pau of the Star Wars universe, because she turned down the title of Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
And so, but Yoda gave it to her.
Yeah.
Yoda absolutely gave her the title of Jedi Knight, and then she was like, no.
Well, then how is Sabine her Padawan? I guess that I could nitpick that kind of.
We can come back.
And that's actually something that even Jason and I don't know, because that must have happened in the in-between years, because Sabine got training from the guy that died, who was Ezra's master. Ezra's a Jedi, and what's the name of the other
Kanan Jarrus.
Kanan. So Kanan, the Jedi master on Rebels, he trained Sabine before he died on how to handle the Darksaber, and then he dies. And now we find out that sometime in between the Battle of Yavin and the 9 years after the Battle of Endor, Ahsoka trained her as well. So she's gotten training from.
Yeah, that we don't know. Maybe we'll get some flashbacks or something, but
yeah, I hope we do. And so then we get this Republic transport ship, and like I said, man, the ship porn in the show.
Oh yeah, very impressive.
It kind of reminded me of the Colonial One from BSG.
Yeah, kind of. It has that kind of flair to it.
Yeah, but look at the detail on that. Like you could actually see into the bridge, and you can see the people on the bridge if you look carefully enough.
Yeah, the greebling and the
right. It's so well done.
Yeah.
I love every detail. Sorry about the stuff there. And just, absolutely gorgeous. And then of course we go inside and we see the nice, and something they do fairly well with Star Wars, since they don't have view screens in Star Wars, notice which is why, people that argue about Star Wars versus Star Trek, one of the reasons that any battle Star Trek wins is because in Star Wars, all weaponry is fired line of sight. End game right there. Because phasers can shoot you from 100,000 kilometers away without any difficulty whatsoever. They have difficulty hitting a target that's more than 50 yards away. Because they're literally firing with their eyeballs.
Well, Ariel, there's no Mon Calamari because they got a
Mon Calamari cruiser.
They got it. Yeah, but I was just gonna say they have to poo on the white guys who are not evil by making them stupid. No, seriously. They make this guy, the captain of this ship, he's stupid. He goes down to the hangar bay and he gets killed right off the bat.
Yeah,
it's
but that's because he assumed these people were like just your run-of-the-mill thieves, like what we got in season 1 of Mando.
Yeah, I mean,
because why wouldn't he? Like everyone assumes that.
He brought down a security.
Dude, you can see they have lights. Unless he's blind, he can see there's lightsabers there.
Hey, did you ever LARP before?
Yeah, these guys, they were wearing costumes.
They're trying to sell it, right? Maybe they're just
if you're
coy
pretending to be a
smugglers.
Jedi, of course you're going to have a lightsaber hanging from your belt. or at least a piece of plastic that looks like a lightsaber.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and every lightsaber doesn't look exactly the same. It could be.
This I like how just these two, whatever they are, Jedi, Sith, whatever, they just totally own everybody on this ship.
They butcher the entire ship. I mean, I don't. It's not
Jedi at this point because that's what
it's not made expressly clear, but basically the state of this ship as we see it, not far out from the start of the show, they butchered the whole ship.
Yeah.
And honestly, Danny, if you were right as far as them trying to do like some kind of wokeification statement, then the entire crew of the ship would have been white men.
Yeah, because they killed everybody.
Yeah, and that would
she killed
for white men in the entire show. Like
they killed this guy, and Crazy Eyes goes and kills the second in command up on the bridge.
Yeah, by the way.
So
could have spared her.
So
right?
I was just trying to make a joke, but sure. Whatever.
No, I know. It's not your fault. It's because there's a ton of people that are just fishing for every kind of angry thing to say.
There are people that genuinely think.
I really do. Like, what's his character's name again? Balin? Is it Balin?
Balin Skull.
Oh yeah,
dude, I like. Man, he's just in every scene he's in. Yeah,
Give
he's
me
just
more of this guy.
Yeah,
I know.
You know what You know what he makes me think of? Like Mirror Universe Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Right? Evil badass Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Butchered. How could they butcher the ship? Everybody on the ship is dead. And I don't know if you've watched the episode, Ariel, but like the outside of the ship does not look very pretty when we see it in about 15 minutes or 10 minutes here.
There we go. There's a nice shot.
We are no Jedi.
That'll kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't they stab anybody else through right there in the
like
heart?
up in the chest as opposed to down low where you might survive?
But the stupid thing is Qui-Gon got it right in the gut.
Yeah, but through the spine though.
Huh? Yeah, Qui-Gon should have lived. Justice for Qui-Gon, man.
Yeah, Qui-Gon was weak.
That's a good that could make a good T-shirt. Justice for Qui-Gon. There you go.
There you go.
Hey, yeah, there you go,
Write that
Danny.
down,
You could
Danny. There's another.
you could make a T-shirt that has everyone that survived around Qui-Gon in the middle, and just say "Justice for Qui-Gon."
Yeah, don't forget. Yeah, and of course, you have like impaled, cut in half, all survived.
Yeah,
yeah. Qui-Gon gets a boo-boo, he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Qui-Gon.
I wrote that idea
And
down.
I mean, look at her. She's just like, it's killing.
Oh,
she's
she's
like
just crazy eyes
on the show. You see, and look,
Yeah.
female captain tries to blast her. No, that ain't gonna happen.
Pew pew pew, and fling slice. You're dead.
That is the look of oncoming death.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So the lightsaber action in this is fast paced and well done.
Because we've seen orange. I guess
I'm not
wasn't
100%.
Rey's orange? It was Rey's lightsaber orange?
No, Rey's was yellow.
Yellow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sold on the orange. I don't think it looks bad, but it's
I think
new,
what they're just trying to show is that they're not Sith.
Yeah, because Sith are straight up red.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Sith have to use artificial kyber crystals.
Right. But I think what you would call these guys are dark Jedi, because I think he was a Jedi, especially since the droid recognized his blade.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Potts has spoken. Orange lightsaber bad.
Yes. So now we have two bad evil colors, orange and red.
Mm.
And another super tip. Thank you so much.
Super tip. Hey, Aravic, what's up, buddy?
And let me get back in there. I hate how this stupid system works, but that's okay because it's still better than the alternative. All right. And
Hey.
oh, come on. Where are you?
Just because the man who wielded the purple lightsaber was a BMF doesn't mean that purple is bad, you know.
Hey, that purple lightsaber was freaking awesome. All right, so
Pink.
so this was from Yosef. Says, still not a father, but soon live long and use the force. Oh man, Yosef, your life is about to end, buddy. Any minute now. So for those of you that don't know, Yosef Petrick is in the process of becoming a father right now. So I don't know if she's in labor yet, but I will tell you that
I don't think he'd be here if she was in labor.
Well, he could be listening on his phone at the hospital.
Yes.
And
Dedication.
oh no, he's in Slovakia. I'm sorry. He could be listening on his phone in the manger. But the
come on. There we go.
she'll be using the force soon enough. Oh yeah. Joseph, you are so screwed, buddy. Let's see, pink lightsabers. We haven't seen a pink lightsaber.
I didn't think. Yeah.
Which now that is what I would imagine Sabine making would be a pink lightsaber. Like if Sabine made her own.
If she
saber.
made her own, well,
because her saber, by the way, is Ezra's old saber.
Yeah, but keep in mind though the crystals pick the maker, so I don't know how they
but like if
figure
she
that
went
out.
into the cave, I'll bet you there's like one pink crystal in the cave, and it would jump out.
No, she finds the one crystal that does RGB like on a computer. It just keeps changing colors.
She got the rainbow saber.
Yeah, kind of like my video card's doing over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, and but like if you notice the way that he is extremely disciplined with the way he moves.
Everything is extremely stoically deliberate.
Yeah, which I'm mixed on. On the one
It
hand,
kind of reminds me of a samurai. I kind of like the way his movements felt very kind of like deliberate and.
But you see, this is a problem with modern Star Wars as far as evil force users. And And this is the same problem they had with Darth Swall in the sequel trilogies. And here is that they make, in order to make the bad guy look even scarier, he has no emotion on his face, right?
It's almost kind of this pause right here. I kind of get Matt Vader vibes, you know?
Yeah.
The beard,
yeah.
If Matt Vader were a Dark Jedi, this would be good.
Yeah, he is Balin Skrull.
This would be like, you should pull this frame for a meme about Vader.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, here's your new cosplay, buddy. Next time you go to Millennium Phantom Bar.
But the if they have these guys show no emotion. And that's
except
really
for Crazy Eyes, who just looks crazy.
Well, yeah, I'm not talking about the girl. She
looks like a rabid chihuahua just let off the leash.
She fights like a freaking Sith. He's fighting like a Jedi.
True.
He
does, and we'll get to it later, but he does make some comments that he's kind of like missing the old days.
Yeah.
My first words to the little one will be, "I am your father." And think it's going to happen during the week. Well, just make sure that you start mixing in some of mommy's milk with your Slovakian slurries, so that way the baby can start having some too.
Just don't feed him the blue soy milk
because if you keep mom, you keep mom, lactating, then what you do is, remember, we talked about how you and your wife would be sitting there, one with a goat, one with a sheep, squirting each other from across the room. So now, once the kid's old enough, the kid holds one of them, you hold one of them, and mom just squirts herself. And you guys, that's how you make your Slovakian stuff.
It sounded a lot dirtier than you meant it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So here he goes to the cell and gets her out.
Yeah.
So it's I would like to see Mando come back in this, but I doubt we're going to get to see him. And then we get our little opening, and Ahsoka is at some ruins. Again, I mean, the visuals on this stuff is just really nice.
I don't know, man. That looks so fake to me. You can tell
that previous shot. Yeah, it felt a little too kind of like rotoscoped.
I don't know. I think with the camera movement, it worked fine. But like right here, it looks like she's there. It certainly does.
Yeah, a lot of the rest of it looks fine, but that first establishing over the shoulder shot, I kind of felt was
the one
shot, the weakest in it.
Yeah, the one shot I thought was kind of silly was when she drops here. I thought that looked like a cartoon.
Oh, you don't like this little Tomb Raider scene she's about to do?
No, once she's in here and she solves the puzzle, I mean, granted, it looked like a video game scene. I really felt like, so
it was basically
she's in a puzzle.
Tomb Raider. Yeah, it was like
Tomb Raider and Indie all wrapped in one.
Yeah.
And her doing that thing, of course, is right out of stuff or nonsense that she did in the cartoon. So for me, it's on point for Dave Filoni and for stuff we've seen before. It just looks funny in real live action is all.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the problem. It's not that it's something she couldn't do or hasn't done on the animated show. It just looks wonky when you try to do it live action. I think that they should have had her just cut a hole in the door or in the wall and come in.
Something, yeah.
Well, she does the reverse of this here in a couple of minutes, fighting the droids.
Yeah, she has some.
Which that I thought was cool. I actually thought her cutting the floor from under the droids was cool.
Yeah.
But
also very typical for her too. Yeah,
because
she's a lateral thinker, as is demonstrated in all of her appearances.
Good strategy, divide and conquer, because she was outnumbered. But when she separates them, now she can fight a few at a time.
Yeah.
So she figures out the puzzle, because she has the Staff of Kings and she's able to find the Ark of the Covenant or whatever. Oh, wait, wrong movie.
She finds the magic balls and
she somehow and it's packed by Amazon, obviously, because
yeah, the packaging is way bigger than the object. Yeah.
yes,
It's kind of like Guardians, the first scene where Peter Quill
Yeah.
gets the orb.
I think it's the same orb actually.
Yeah, right.
That'd be funny.
So then she faces off. Now, do you think this is a battle droid as opposed to a person in armor? Huh? Well, I guess
these are
the leg
droids.
looks
No, these are assassin droids.
okay.
They're all assassin droids.
Which is so they come up with some new weapons that look kind of cool. Although the one thing that I never understood is like, okay, so they get her outnumbered 5-1. Why didn't they all just? I mean, they have rifles on their back. Just all shoot her at once. She can't deflect 5 bolts at the same time.
But they don't want to destroy whatever she's got. So.
Yeah, but for people that think that wouldn't work, it worked in Revenge of the Sith. When the clone troopers just shot the Jedi en masse, they couldn't deflect them all. So,
yeah, but remember, they don't want to destroy whatever she's got.
Oh, come on. We've seen that blasters don't do... These aren't phasers.
I don't know. Anyway, I was in the moment. I was fine with this.
Right. Oh, no, I thought the fight itself was really good. But I'm just saying that if, these assassin droids are just kind of dumb. Now, granted, they're droids, and in the Star Wars universe, one thing that is consistent, droids are kind of dumb.
Even the best of them are kind of dur.
Yeah, and so this is one of those, you can do whatever you want, just don't break your own rules. And so I'm okay with droids acting stupid because droids have been consistently stupid throughout the history of Star Wars.
Yes.
And Aaron says, you're asking the old age question when most heroes are taking out one enemy when they come at one at a time. Yeah, I know. It's the old, like when Bruce Lee is surrounded, why only one person attacks at a time, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like with a Jedi, I'm just, if I'm, if put me in Admiral Thrawn's position, I'm the master strategist. If I'm going up against a Jedi, then my plan would be, okay, I know that if I shoot a Jedi, they're going to just deflect it. However, a Jedi can only have they have to give way to physics. They can only have their lightsaber in one position at a time. In the case of Ahsoka, she has 2 blades, which means she can have her 2 lightsabers in one position at a time. If you have her completely surrounded and you just blast her from every direction, there's nothing she can do. She will die.
Although we know that that's not really the case for Ahsoka.
Well, we know that,
by special request. I'm not even going to make her.
Stop with that.
Ariel is encouraging him.
Giving people
Ariel, no more ASMR unless
Danny's keeping the audience happy. And by audience, I mean Ariel.
So, and I do like that we finally get to see, like, that is a massive self-destruct.
Yeah, that, by the way, is something that's also, you can see the use of that in the cartoons once in a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it seemed a little like overkill.
Yeah, it seems like borderline miniature, Independence Day spaceship zapper.
As your packet nukes, these droids are.
Right.
But I also like the fact that happening the way that it did, and even though she got away, was also another nod to Ahsoka and Anakin when they were teamed up together in Clone Wars, that their shenanigans would come to an end and they think that they finally finished everything up. And then it's like, oh, guess what? You actually know there's still a last little thing, and then someone had to either deal with it or they had to run away.
Right. And to answer your question, Ariel, yeah, the Mandalorians have little shields that they commonly have built into their armor. We actually see in Phantom Menace that the Gungans had shields, personal that they would carry. So yeah, shields are a thing, but the Jedi never used them. And I thought it would be kind of cool to see, since the Jedis are knights, to see a style of combat where you have one of those shields and a lightsaber that you fight one-handed, like a classic knight sword and shield style.
Wasn't there a scene in Mandalorian where like the Force, they made like a shield around them with the Force? Wasn't that a thing? Or am I?
Yeah, that was Yoda.
Grogu made a shield around them using the Force when there was a big old explosion like that.
Yeah.
And Grogu protected them. And that's because Grogu is like, an Omega level Force user. So,
right.
And so let's see. And it's that same kind of weapon that George Takei character made that's basically covered the land. I'm not sure what you're talking about there.
I have no idea what that's about.
Yeah. So why she has this particular droid with her, I have no idea.
Then this is the David Tennant one, right?
Yeah, that's the David Tennant droid. And because he had a very specific function, every single Padawan who ever trained in the last 500 years had to go through this droid to make their lightsaber. And it's not like she's the only Jedi. In fact, he should be hanging out with Luke, because Luke's trying to get a new Jedi school going. So why is he hanging out with Ahsoka? There's no explanation other than, I'm sure they just figured it would be cool to get David Tennant to voice that droid.
Hey, Famous Bear, welcome to the party, pal.
Hey,
Thanks
Famous
for
Bear.
joining us.
So here we get to see a Mon Calamari cruiser, some X-Wings.
Yeah, that's actually Home 1, by the way, from Return of the Jedi.
Is it the same ship?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, man, the ship porn is so good. I got the feels listening to the sound of the X-Wings go by and the ships and oh man.
Yeah. But yeah, look at all the debris floating around that that cruiser.
Yeah, I guess they were angry at the ship after they released her, so they just shot at the ship for fun.
Yeah, so not only did they butcher everybody, they blasted the crap out of it.
Mm-hmm. So Ahsoka shows up, and we see her land on Home 1, and we get our first meet up with Hera, a major character from Rebels.
So she's not a Jedi or anything, right?
No,
she's a crack pilot.
Yeah, and that's, by the way, one thing I do like is that everybody has their skill set. She is the hot shot pilot of the team. She flies the Ghost, which is their ship. And
she's kind of like the Han Solo of this crew or whatever.
She is
kind of, yeah.
But she's also the mother. She's not the one to go
character
out and charge into combat. She'll fight if she has to, but her job is almost always to stay at the ship.
Yeah, she's very much motherly in the cartoon series.
Right.
She's trying to make sure everybody comes back alive.
But this actress, too young, because she was the oldest member of the crew. And she actually had a relationship with, and she actually has a son who at this point in time should be like 20 years old.
Oh, then she's way too young.
Not quite 20, but definitely not
keep
young
in mind,
either.
Well, no, but
because this is only 9 years after Kanan died, so he'd be 10 years old at the most.
So at least 10 years old. But they didn't even mention her kid.
Yeah, but Hera Syndulla in the cartoon already has some age on her, so not only is the casting slightly off from appearance, but she just didn't that actress just did not play this part well.
No,
or she just wasn't directed well for it, or something. Something's just off.
Yeah, she is my least favorite character on the show. As far as the general writing performance, I don't even like the makeup on the tentacles. I think that they just and part of it is probably because of the hat she's always wearing. It just looks like they're glued on tentacles.
Yeah. By the
And
way, you were wondering why the droid was with Ahsoka?
is there
That
an
droid
explanation?
has been with Ahsoka a bunch.
Okay.
I totally forgot. There's an arc in Clone Wars where Ahsoka and that droid go with a bunch of younglings to go find kyber crystals to make their lightsabers.
Well, that
So
would make
yeah, there's a
sense.
whole pile of stuff.
I vaguely remember that, but that was
Yeah.
when she was still with the Jedi.
Yeah. But her basically she has a friendship with
Right,
Yang.
but I'm saying that droid would be way too valuable to just be like her property. And there's
I don't think he is her property. But
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't.
Well, remember,
But that's
droids
by
are-
the way, that's the ghost right there behind them. You know that, right?
Where?
No, that's Ahsoka.
That's Ahsoka.
Or not
ship
Ahsoka's
right
ship. The ghost is in there somewhere. We're not at the right scene yet.
I didn't catch it. Let's see.
The
if
ghost is actually hiding in here.
there.
I'm watching it off to the
I
side
just noticed
too.
a couple of X-wings there. I never
Yeah.
saw the ghost. I wouldn't be surprised if you're talking about the full-on ghost, because we only saw what do they call that little
The
ship?
Phantom.
Yeah, the Phantom. We see that in action.
Yeah.
But the Ghost, by the way, is a really cool ship, Danny. It's kind of like a mini version of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
And so I really do like the Ghost, but I'm sure we'll see it before season's end. That'll be the Enterprise D moment of this show. So
Sirs just says you can see the ghost just before they enter the hangar
Oh, okay.
during the approach.
if I remove, because I don't want to get copyright busted. Probably already will, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
got it. Okay, let's see. I'm rewinding.
Oh yeah, it's like
Is it from the side view or from the?
it's looking in through the cockpit.
Okay, so
it's
when
like-
we're looking over her shoulder.
Yeah, and man, is it ever? It is like you blink and you miss it.
Okay,
It's the ship off to the left, just to the left edge of the console in the center. Yeah, it's a blink and you miss it. I wouldn't worry about trying to line it up. You're never going to pull it off.
See.
It's super hard. It's actually when you've got the two. It's just off to the. See
So,
the circle on the
right
it's
there?
that ship right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we're behind the two traffic control pilot or air traffic control people, whatever you want to call them in this, the landing bay officers. When you're staring back at Ahsoka's ship, you can actually see a piece of the hull of the Ghost off to the right.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll get more of the Ghost for sure.
Yes, right there. See that big bar of right beside his right arm?
You're talking about
That
over
faded
here?
red. That's part of the Ghost over there.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, we're definitely going to see it later. So anyway. If only we had a good IT guy. Ah, come on.
Yeah, shots
Yeah,
fired.
if we had a good IT guy, we'd solve a lot of problems around here. But you know, we don't. So then and now I do. You know, they got the scans from the ship, so they got a good look at these guys. And you know, it's weird. Like, you ever notice? Is it just me, or does it seem weird to you that like there's no such thing as a monitor in Star Wars? You know, they have these holograms.
For video? Yeah,
Well, no,
everything is
they show-
three-dimensional holograms.
Well, no, in Revenge of the Sith, Yoda and Obi-Wan are looking at a video monitor.
And also on
that was a hologram they were looking at.
What? No,
You're
no.
talking about the security footage. It was a hologram.
Was it? Oh, okay.
They did have a monitor in Empire Strikes Back when they were looking for Hoth. That
Was it a monitor, or was it like a radar screen, something like
No, that was a monitor because they showed the picture of the generator.
That's true. That's true. I remember now when they did.
So that's got to be one of the
But
rarest
that's like
moments.
the only.
that we
Yeah,
actually,
it's
yeah.
You know, because the problem is these holograms are not like Star Trek holograms. They're not solid images. They're translucent.
Yeah, there's always that blue.
And they're not particularly good resolution, and they're always flickering in and out. So couldn't they get like a 4K monitor so they could get a nice clean picture of these guys? And you know,
I know it's the classic technology paradox in Star Wars, where they can go into hyperspace and they have amazing ships they can build, and they have obviously artificial gravity, but they can't do long range weapons. They don't know what monitors are, and there's no targeting computers.
They can't hit a target that's 2 meters wide from 100 yards away.
Yeah.
That's impossible, even for the computer. It's like, wow, your computers suck.
Yeah.
You know, meanwhile, Kirk's like, let's see, we got a 1 meter object 200,000 kilometers away. All right, kill it. Done.
Yeah. So much discussion, and then a ball is talked about.
Yes, much discussion over balls. So so this show definitely fails the Bechdel test, because they're always either talking about the balls or Ezra.
Of course, what they really are talking about is going to Sabine to get help from Sabine. Yes. So,
hi, what are you doing? So Spring was off playing with the rest of the family and just decided to come back in. All right, so and this is one of those pacing problems. This scene was a little longer than it needed to be.
Yeah.
A lot of uncomfortable pauses in between each other's dialogue.
Yeah.
Also.
It's like, what's my next line? I think they were just like, hey, audience, ooh and ah over how cool everything looks.
Yeah, like if you watch even a few episodes of Rebels, Danny, you'll find the pacing is way more on point for how much story is attempted to be being told. So yeah, and it's not even other big
India
fans
succeeded with their moon landing.
Oh, cool!
Which means now the moon's going to smell like Indian food.
Sweet, I like curry. You leave the curry alone.
Well, hey, you think we put an end to this whole flat earther conspiracy? Could they just turn around and take a photo of the Earth for us from
Oh, heck
there?
no. Because Darren, if you're listening, I love you. They'll be like, they'll say it's all fake.
It's an Indian conspiracy now.
Yes. India's just in on it.
Man, like, have you just decided, Ariel, that I hate all the things?
Well, you are kind of a rage monster, to be honest. So
I have been recently, but yeah, the even the biggest fans of the show that I've seen a couple of videos from have said that the pacing is a little wonky with this. So it's everybody tends to agree on that.
All right, so then we get Kurgan, and like I said, this is a big member berry moment for me that I really did like, because I like his character in Rebels. He was an integral part of the liberation of this planet, and the fact that they got, and he like we said earlier, he voiced the character in Rebels, and it was obvious if you listen to him. It's like he's got a very distinctive voice, and you're just like, but then to see as soon as he stepped out and started talking, I was like, yeah, they got him. So I thought that was really cool. I didn't even know he was still alive, to be honest, until
you mean the actor?
Yeah, because I didn't.
You didn't see John Wick 4 yet?
No, I haven't seen John Wick 4.
Oh, okay, because he's in that.
But yeah, so but yeah.
Oh, and that guy off to his right behind him, the young guy. I totally have to go back and check on it. Him right there where your arrow is. Yeah.
That's the senator.
He's actually from the cartoon as well.
Oh, is he? Okay, I don't remember.
Yeah, I totally missed it. Eckhart's Ladder made a note of it, and I watched it in the video this morning with breakfast. He said, yeah, that guy was blah, 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 something rescued from the Imperials, but I don't remember that part.
I should have just listened and believed you guys. You were right. The scene I was talking about in Revenge of the Sith, it was the hologram. It wasn't a monitor. I thought it was.
Yeah.
Oh, when they were watching the footage of the killing in the hallway or whatever?
Not when he's knighting, when Palpatine's knighting.
Oh, yeah,
Anakin
turning him
as
into
Vader.
a Dark Lord. Yeah.
Arise, Darth Vader.
Yeah, of course, he's looking for Sabine to come out and say words. And
Right.
she
And the whole time, all I could do was try to see the mural to see how close the mural was here to the mural from the cartoon.
It's pretty close.
It's pretty close, but you can tell they did
job.
slightly change the features of just about everybody.
A little bit, yeah.
I think to make them look a little more like the actors.
Yeah.
But and those, just so you're aware, Danny, those giant wolves are not just stylistic; they are in the show.
They are really that
on
big.
The planet that are that big.
Yeah, it's like dire wolves dialed up to 11.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
and they helped liberate the planet. They're like the eagles from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
they just
they show up when the plot requires them, and
So what's that thing that looks like a Pokemon on that one dude's shoulder?
Yeah, that Pokemon thing is also there in the animated show as well.
So that is a Loth cat.
Yeah.
And we actually saw one in season
there was one in The Mandalorian.
In The Mandalorian,
season one, actually.
Yeah, when we first see Cara Dune, there's actually one in the bar. But the one that
there's one in
did
the episode too, right? At Sabine's place. There's a little cat-like thing in there.
And that's an amazing job they did with that. It was a combo of practical and CG.
And the thing is that one thing about Ezra, as far as being a Jedi, he had a very special connection with animals.
Yeah, that was his big
so
flair.
The wolves and the what are they called again? Lear cats?
Loth cats.
Loth cats. He basically spends a lot of time with them in the show.
Yeah.
So Sabine is riding full throttle down the highway to nowhere. Now, I like the paint job here, except that she should have painted the foils as well. I mean, I think every inch of the speeder bike
it should have been
some kind of crazy color, just knowing her character.
Maybe she just wasn't done.
Now, this is another scene that I thought overall was cool, but it was too long.
Yeah, it's dragging out.
Point of it. That
just to show
I fear
it's to show it off.
She's a rebel. She doesn't, she's not going to listen to the rules.
No, I think it was just to show off the asset.
Yeah, it is. And what
problem.
she does here is definitely in character. It's just that they drug it on way too long.
Yeah,
there's the cat thingy there. Yeah.
They could have reduced it to basically the ship going ahead, trying to stop her on the ground. She flies right under it right quick and in a rush, and then move on. Don't lollygag.
So she goes back to the comm tower where she lives and is eating her nasty gruel, and she's looking at the hologram doohickey thing because she misses Ezra. And the message that Ezra gives her is also in the animated show. Basically, he said his last message to her is, "I'm counting on you," and she's never 100% sure on what exactly he's counting on her to do, but she figures that she should stay on this planet because she's supposed to honor Ezra. And so she's not, obviously, since she's a Mandalorian, she's not from around here. By the way, seeing that weird graffiti like artwork everywhere, that is totally in character for her. That's all over the inside of her quarters on the ship. In the cartoon, she can't not draw pretty much all the time.
She's like a habitual doodler.
Yeah. Meanwhile, evil Wolverine chick is evil. Witch chick is witchy, and Darth
Stoic.
Badass
Yeah, and
is
stoic Darth is
Yeah.
stoic.
and
So with
mystery-
that other
and-
was that an Inquisitor? That other dude?
This is
the
an
droid
excellent
uses
question.
an Inquisitor saber.
No, this isn't a droid. I don't think.
Or-
It's not a
I don't know.
droid.
I don't know. Is it an Inquisitor or is it a droid?
Not that one. The one to the left.
Yeah, right in the foreground.
That guy.
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Yeah, we don't know, and Matthew and I debated that hotly for a bit,
It could
especially
be a
in the second
leftover
episode.
Inquisitor. Like an Inquisitor that survived the war.
Yeah,
Darth Grimace. That's funny. Ariel called him Darth.
But he did have an Inquisitor blade, so it would make
Yeah.
And by the way, I didn't like her hair. I like her hair here a lot more than the short style at the end.
which is funny because I actually like it the other way because it was always short in the cartoon.
Yeah, well, you're just whatever. You
Yeah.
You don't like girls that look like girls, apparently.
Shush.
So basically, they ask her to try and solve what the meaning of the map thingy is, which is another thing, not something new, because she helped Ezra open up this portal, the time portal thing, because of her the way that her mind works in kind of decoding art. She's just really good at the puzzle levels of Tomb Raider. And so when everybody else is stumped, she's the one to act.
Yeah. And then, yeah, of course, after she has a little bit of a dream, and then Ahsoka flies overhead, and then of course
the minute Ahsoka says, "Now you can't leave with it,"
I was like, yeah, she's so gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, disobedient Sabine Wren is disobedient.
Right. And so she takes off, and meanwhile, we have another drawn-out scene with Hera. Every time Hera is on screen, to me, the pacing just goes into the toilet.
Yep.
And I mean, pretty much almost every scene with Hera, in my opinion, should be cut. And so then she's trying to figure it out while she's at home, and she has some coffee. She keeps looking at it, and it's like, man, these puzzles look so easy. That it's like, oh, come on, this looks like the tutorial puzzle. This doesn't look like the advanced level puzzle that it's supposed to be. And it unlocks a map that opens up a hyperspace lane to another galaxy, which is interesting, something we've never seen before. And what I think would be really cool is if that other galaxy was the Milky Way. But
well, there's some fun because there's an enemy, and I don't know if they're ever going to bring it into canon. There's an enemy from Legends called the Yuzon Vong, and they grow bioships. And,
I've heard of them.
And they invade the Star Wars galaxy, and there's like a year-long full galaxy-wide war. And it actually happens.
War in Star Wars?
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
And it happened originally. It happened in 21 ABY. Which means it would predate the 3 sequel movies by just a smidge. So
just a smidge.
So then she decides to go outside just to get a breath of smoggy air from the looks of things. And all of a sudden she's attacked by some assassin droids. And, she shows off her badass abilities, but the droids manage to overpower her and get the puzzle box and give it to Darth Wolverine, and then she and Darth Wolverine square off, and they fight, and this is actually, I thought, a pretty good lightsaber fight. It's not too long, and the final move was a good one.
Yeah.
Even though right here it looks like the blade hits her significantly higher than where the wound is.
I know. Yeah, this looks like it could have punctured her lung. You know.
Yeah.
This looks like went right through her lung. It's like right underneath her breast.
Yeah.
And not to be graphic or anything, but just be realistic here. And so, but then the wound is way down by her belly button.
Yeah.
And so, while it may not have killed her based on the positioning of it, which by the way, why didn't she just swing her blade to the left or right here instead of just pulling it straight back out?
Right.
Just saying that would have for sure killed her.
Yeah.
She's crazy. She's
better
not
yet,
animalistic enough yet.
Yeah, like I'm just saying, like if it were me, you put the blade in there and then bring it up. If she brought the blade straight up from here, there's no surviving.
Oh yeah, but
but
plot armor is a wonderful thing.
Fortunately, her plot armor is in full effect.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you skip past just a tiny little bit,
where she's going down but swinging.
Well, to when it fades to black, actually, is the part that really matters. So, a funny, sad moment here. So there, and then and then right there goes for our friend Ray, and then all of a sudden I went, well, that sucked, and then Matthew stopped dead, sat up, looked at me. What do you mean?
Ray Palpatine? Is that what
I
you
said?
thinking?
Ray is dead. He goes, what? I said, Ray Stevens, the guy who played the Balin character. He died 6 weeks ago. And he goes,
but that is nice that they dedicated to him.
It was just funny because Matthew thought I was saying the show sucked.
Although, when I saw this, the first thing I thought of was Ray from the sequels.
But fortunately, that's spelled R-E-Y or R-E-I. So.
Yeah, Ray Stevenson. He wasn't even. He wasn't even that old.
No, he's only about my age.
55 or so.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that was like, dang,
Yeah, 6'3".
Yeah, 58. He was born in 64.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's just a couple of years older than me.
Yeah. My oldest cousin is his age.
But in the next episode, turns out she's fine. No,
which we knew.
A flesh wound.
Yeah.
I guess maybe you guys knew that as someone who really
but the trailers
how
make
big
it...
a character she is.
Yeah.
Totally
and that's the thing is a lot of this is this is a. Yeah, it's going to suck. We're going to have to keep coming back to that same caveat over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was really lame. The death fake out here, because it's like really because they don't even they could have said at least give me a card that says 6 weeks later, like she's been...
or beat her up but don't shiver, maybe wing her arm and her leg but not go through,
maybe give her a fake hand, that's a Star Wars tradition.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, this she gets stabbed through the chest, and then you move miraculously the wound moves south a few inches, and and then she wakes up in the hospital and it's like, oh yeah, you're fine, don't worry about it. And it's just a little scab.
Tis but a flesh wound.
You're right, Bradley. It does look a lot like the map that was used on Treasure Planet. Never really thought about that, but you are absolutely right.
Well, they own Fox now, so they could get away with it.
Yeah. Well, no, Treasure Planet was a Disney movie.
No, Treasure Planet was... sorry, no, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah, Treasure Planet was absolutely a Disney movie.
Yeah, I was thinking of that one that Fox did. I can't remember the name of it right now.
I saw it in theaters, and I actually
Titan
like
AE.
I think it's an underrated Disney cartoon. So we get to see them land on not Stonehenge here.
Yeah, to do some witchy witch stuff.
Right. Which makes me think, you see, this is why I think that they could go to the Milky Way galaxy. Is Stonehenge a hyperspace lane, that where you could get from our galaxy to theirs?
Maybe this is how we get our Star Trek Star Wars crossover.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, I'm telling you. I think that
like the way your camera is framed is
oh yeah,
cutting
you
most
keep
of your face
sliding.
off.
I know. It's because
you gotta refavor that camera because
I know,
you favor away
I gotta
from
figure
it.
out a way to
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
because I gotta sit like this in order to keep my back from absolutely screaming at me.
yeah.
but
Isn't
I
that
don't
the
have
360?
Yeah, I just didn't bring up the controller, so give me a minute. Jeez, jerks. Making me do work.
Anyway. So Famous Bear hasn't is kind of in the same boat as me. He hasn't seen Rebels. Like the first. So Famous Bear, you didn't feel I didn't feel spoiled, but you didn't feel lost at any point in time or slightly confused or just not feeling. I just feel like I'm missing out on. It's kind of like the comment you made earlier, Jason, about Picard season 3. You know what I mean? Like it's just like if I hadn't watched TNG, it's like
it would have had far less gravitas for you.
Yeah.
Well, that was stupid of me. I just accidentally unplugged.
Apparently, me saying, "Hey, your camera's out of whack," is me yelling. So
Well,
apparently,
yeah,
my new shtick with Ariel is everything I'm talking
Ariel,
about.
you
Is
see,
I'm
that's
angry.
why people should be super chatting me because I'm being abused by this vicious, cruel person, this Canadian who just won't stop yelling and screaming at me. Yeah. Have to deal with this right now. All right, so
at not Stonehenge.
They're not Stonehenge, and so they grab the Ark of the Covenant or whatever, and it shows them the path, and he says it's the path to ultimate power, such as you've never dreamed of, which doesn't make a lot of sense because really it's
I thought he said it was how to find that.
It's got a weird
Admiral
name that I haven't memorized yet.
Right.
It's some myth from Jedi lore, as far as he's concerned. But
and no, that's not George Clooney. That's Ray Stevenson. That's the actor we've been talking about that recently passed away.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, Ahsoka goes to visit Sabine and sees the cat.
Or Sabine's not there.
Oh yeah, she just goes there. And the cat chicken thing is there looking around.
It's a cat chicken.
Well, look
it does have chicken legs, so
yes, it's a cat chicken. That's what it is. it's a cat chicken. I'm just saying it's a cat that you could eat. Because
I mean, I guess technically you could eat a cat, but
right, but this is a cat. Look at that thing. It's got lots of juicy meat on it.
Star Wars Szechuan.
Yeah. Get some of that and some pork to go with it.
Okay, so Famous Bear. That's a good point. Yeah.
By the
That
way,
shows
since I
you don't know
accidentally
what is
unplugged the
happening in the
monitor,
first
it
couple
made everything
episodes.
so small that I can't read it. So I can't read the chat at all. So you're gonna have to tell me what it said.
Oh, he was just. I was asking if he felt lost or confused by not having seen Rebels, and he said no. The best shows you don't know what's happening in the first couple of episodes. So.
Oh well, yeah, of course. It's always great to be completely confused. It adds to the mystery. That's what J.J. Abrams would say.
Wasn't
right?
completely confused. No, I said that already, Stanley. It does look like a Pokemon. Yeah.
So she, one of the assassin droids is still there, and so Ahsoka very quickly dispatches it and keeps the head to give to Sabine because Sabine, and this is also, but again, going back to the animated series, one of Sabine's
things is that she is the mechanic. Like she can what she's doing here with the head of the droid, this is definitely in character for her.
Oh my God, Space Force, Girl Force. That was hilarious. Somebody blocked your comment from appearing, but that was funny. That was a little too vulgar for me to repeat. I don't want to get in trouble.
What was it?
So does that kitty then taste like chicken? Haha.
But she didn't say kitty.
Yes, indeed.
It was not me that buried it. I probably would have let it go by. Because it's down to double entendre. So.
Yeah.
The cat tastes like chicken. Because it is chicken. It's cat chicken. Chicken.
Hello there, Captain Fandom Nerd. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Captain. How you doing?
Cap.
Warning, Captain, if you haven't watched it yet, we are doing heavy spoilers. I know you this morning when we talked, you hadn't watched it yet. So,
but yeah, this is totally up her alley for.
Where's this hologram emanating from? I'm just curious, you know?
from somebody's butt, I think.
Yeah, in this case, it's just like strategically placed at the foot of her bed.
Yeah, because every bed has a hologram emitter there, so that while you're sleeping, someone could just start a hologram and stare at you.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like, I want to know, what is Hera actually looking at? Because you would think she's in the room, right?
Yeah,
but she's sitting there looking at a hologram emitter of her own.
Yeah, showing her at the most probably just Sabine, because we've seen in movies and shows where the other side of the conversation, and it always just shows the other person or a small section of the area around the other person.
Yeah, I just don't like I don't like the way they do their technology in Star Wars with this, because there's not a single monitor to be seen. But everybody talks through these low resolution translucent holograms that always have a blue tint and flicker in and out. And it's like, come on, you guys have got to have 4K.
Yeah, Ariel. Yeah. Pretty much, kind of what I was talking about earlier.
Right, and I mean, look, you could see the resolution lines on her.
Yeah.
This is like, it's not even 2K, it's not even 1080p. This is like 360
interlaced.
Yeah. Jinx.
Yeah. So they go through the trope of the gotta do it fast before it explodes thing, which was minorly annoying, but
this was another scene that drug on and notice Hera's on screen.
Yeah.
And what happens when Hera's on screen? The pacing takes a dump.
Yeah.
And so, we get this whole oh no, is it going to explode scene that is completely unnecessary, because you really think that in the beginning of episode 2, you're going to have an explosion kill all the main characters.
Yeah. Ahsoka, the title character, dies.
Yeah.
10 minutes into the second episode.
Which, granted, that would be an incredibly ballsy move. But nobody would do it.
Yeah, no one saw that coming.
Yeah.
So that happens, and then the next scene we get to is
man, this scene really does drag on.
Huh? Yeah, it drags
forever. Like I said, every time Hera's on screen, oh look, we got a classic George Lucas wipe.
Yeah. But now we get to the Witchy Festival at the Witch
now we
Place.
get the Witchy Poo, where we go back to not Stonehenge, and so she casts a magic spell to do exactly what Sabine did earlier. And, this might have been more impressive had we not seen Sabine already do this by just twisting the top.
But Sabine's only got like a miniature version with one galaxy. She gets like the whole freaking universe map going.
Yeah, but that's because Sabine was interrupted. She didn't get a chance to decode the whole thing. She would have gotten it all eventually. She just didn't turn the other one all the way,
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't hold the antenna just the right way.
Right. So, so she shows this map of basically a cluster of galaxies from the looks of it.
Yeah.
And this actually does look a lot like a diagram of the world between worlds.
It's got that art style of that.
That's where they did the time travel thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I was about to say, what's the world between worlds? But
but the difference is that this is like hyperspace lanes, but in the world between worlds, you literally walk from one time to another.
Yeah.
Space Force, Girl Force, JJ West fans. I said it sounded more like alien punk rock, but
yeah,
I guess maybe hip hop. I don't know. It's kind of like.
And here we see, where
The Milky Way.
They say, "Oh, look, they're showing the old zodiac with their original names. The Gemini, the Geminis used to be called Gemini, and the Taurons used to be called Taurus." And that was never mind. Wrong.
Except for this. Yeah,
this is the same thing. It's a map. That's based
Are they going to find Earth by accident? Yeah, someone should do a fan edit and they accidentally find Earth instead. Yeah. And you notice that galaxy had a ring of Purgles around it in that map too. So,
So they're like, okay, so how are we going to get there? And, as well, first thing you're going to do is you're going to go get Ahsoka.
I have a fetch quest for you, Crazy Eyes.
Because, if we just left now, the good guys couldn't catch up with us and chase us to this other galaxy while we go get Thrawn and you get Ezra. Which is where the show is heading. Because we know Thrawn's going to show up, and if Thrawn shows up, Ezra's going to show up.
Well, there is actually a trailer or a sneak peek that actually shows Ezra in full costume. So
okay, I haven't seen that, but
yeah.
So meanwhile, on Corellia, they're making ships because that's what Corellians do.
So it's funny. What? This is random, but that guy there, I just watched. As Good as It Gets, the Jack Nicholson movie from '97.
Oh, is he in it?
And he's got a little cameo. Must have been one of his first roles. He's sitting in Jack Nicholson's seat or at his table where he likes to go eat at. And
I remember that scene.
Yeah, and he says some very anti-Semitic things. I tell you what, there was a lot of stuff he said in that movie I don't think would fly today. I don't think like he dropped the F word. He's like,
that's like Tropic Thunder, man. That's one of those movies that you'd be like, good luck getting that greenlit today.
Now, here's a question, and I hope this isn't something that continues through the series. So Chopper, that's the name of this droid, Danny. Which correct. She calls him Chop in this a couple of times, but his name is Chopper.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he, despite the way he looks, he is not as tall as R2. He's like maybe 2/3 of the height of an R2 unit.
Okay.
He's really old astromech.
Yeah. And in the show, Chopper is like everywhere. He's always going. Anytime they get out of the ship, Chopper's with them. Anything they're doing, Chopper's with them. But in this, Chopper just sits there the whole time.
I'm sure he'll do some more stuff later. There's no way.
He does have those two little mechanical arms in the show, by the way. That's
all on point. Everything with Chopper is on point.
Except for the fact that he just sits there. Because if anybody, Chopper is probably the most animated of all the characters on the show. Because he can fly like R2, but man, he puts R2 to shame with his flying.
Yeah.
Because
remember,
a little missile.
Remember, and again with unfortunately the homework aspect that makes Chopper's personality way more interesting is Hera found Chopper as a kid, fixed it, and then basically disconnected the mental restraint or whatever. So Chopper is 100% sentient to his own self, and Chopper's a bit of a psycho, by the way. Because I don't know if you picked up on it, Danny, but later on in this episode, when they're chasing that ship that's taking off with the hyperdrive motivator or whatever, or the hyperdrive engine itself, Chopper is asking why Hera isn't shooting down the ship, and then she says, you know, it'll crash and people will die, and Chopper's reaction is actually, so. And he's like that in the cartoon a lot. Like
Chopper is a psychopath.
Yeah,
which is, you know, kind of one of the, you know, he is imagine a murderous, evil little R2, but just fun to have around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's like, oh, so you're here to inspect things, excellent. And so by the way, is it me or is Hera just constantly sticking her butt out for some reason?
It's the actress.
Yeah, it just looks like she's like,
girl's got a booty, I guess, you know.
Yeah, if you watch that action movie too, like it's just the way she moves.
Yeah, she's just a bad pick. They needed to get someone that's like Rosario Dawson's age and with acting ability. Meanwhile, oh, look at that horrible wound from getting gouged with a lightsaber about 6 inches higher.
It looks like they burn her with an old car cigarette lighter.
Yeah, actually, I thought that very same thing. Is like, this is why mommy and daddy told me not to play with that.
Right. So that makes it look like where it hit would be no big deal. But that's not at all where it hit.
No, I know, but we also know there was no way they were going to kill off Sabine in the first episode. So
yes, but they should have just. I mean, come on. There's such a thing as continuity. People that work on set and stuff. They could have actually aimed the lightsaber for where they're going to put the wound. Like if the plan was,
so what you're saying is unlike how Kirk aimed the giant diamond shotgun in Arena up into the sky and it managed to actually hit the Gorn.
Well, that's a giant shotgun. That might have actually done that. So to be fair. And the entire cannon exploded. So
yeah. But yeah, I get your point. For me, it's kind of like
I hate that. It's like, and then we get this guy for reasons. I know that he's the medical droid from Return or from Empire and all that, but you know,
well, he's a more medical droid. Period. Like that's just established.
But here's what I want to know: why does a droid have a respirator?
Because it looks cool. Although I'm pretty sure that's half of one of those microphones, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know, but look, I mean, it's got a tube going down, and if you look inside, it looks like it's an oxygen feeder. You know, it looks like it's a droid that has a severe asthma issue or something.
It's droid greebling, man. I got nothing on it.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's like, yeah, you know, I know I was gutted yesterday, but I feel fine. I can just walk around. You know, it's really no big deal. It's amazing that I can't believe anybody was ever killed by a lightsaber. Meanwhile, Force Ghost Qui-Gon is in the corner going, this sucks.
Crying.
Yeah.
So they have their little motivational speechy talk there, and then we cut back to
another scene with Hera, unfortunately.
Yeah, which drags on.
Right, where they're talking about the construction of ships, and she's like, "Oh, that's interesting. I wonder what that is." And you know, this scene should have been about 30 seconds long, but instead it's like 3 minutes. The
really amount of establishment to get it to the point where obvious everyone is working for the bad guys moment breaks out.
Right. And so this scene, they should have walked in and looked out there and she could have gone, okay, so what's that hyperdrive motor for? And the guy's like, for the Empire. That could have been the whole scene.
Yeah.
You know, there was no need to sit there for a couple of minutes listening to them drone on and making me want to go to sleep, to be honest.
Well, really, they could have. What they could have done is they could have taken this scene and had it so they came in, asked a question, got no compliance from anybody, and then that protocol droid comes over, immediately interrupts, says the piece, and then dude jumps up and goes da da da.
Yeah.
That would have tightened it up nicely,
And
and
by the
still
way,
got all of the important information out the door.
And what kind of an idiot? Just talking about these guys, right? Droids, I can understand being stupid, but people should not be so stupid. You know that she's a freaking Jedi, and you know that the Jedi are the baddest asses of the badasses of all badassery in this galaxy far, far away. And so, what do? You jump up and announce that you're their enemy before you shoot them. How about you shoot them first and then say for the Empire?
Nobody ever said the Empire was super smart.
Yeah, but these guys are boneheads. Why would you tell her, hey, I'm going to attack you?
I don't know. It's a nitpick.
That's not a nitpick. A nitpick, I'll grant you, is the positioning of the wound compared to where the blade was.
Okay, there we go.
That I will grant you is a nitpick.
Yes. All the Hera scenes deserve to be kind of punched in the
but yeah,
solar
Hera
plexus
just
a
needs to
little.
be punched in the face. Period.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll give you that.
Yeah. All right. So then she goes running after the hyperdrive engine because she's just really fast, I guess. And meanwhile, Hera's like, let me take the ship because it's faster. And then the Inquisitor shows up with another assassin droid. And again, the fighting here is actually pretty darn good. I enjoyed the crap out of this scene as far as and this is the one and only scene with Hera that I really liked, was Hera doing what she does best, flying the freaking ship.
Yeah.
You know, and it's so funny because in 2 hours of this show, we get one scene of her flying the ship. And it's the only scene of her that I actually enjoyed. You know,
I fly the ship, except she really doesn't much in this at all.
Right. But that's what she does on the cartoon, is she is the pilot. And her interaction with Chopper and the whole thing with them trying to get a tracker onto the ship before the ship jumps away. It was actually really cool. And you really get a sense of scale, of mass, of movement throughout this. This is one of the coolest looking ships, ship dogfighting type scenes that I've ever seen. And these are not like Chopper trying desperately to find the thing, because Chopper, while a very effective little droid, not a very organized little droid, as we see. He's digging through all his personal effects, trying to find the tracker.
And all this nonsense, this kind of playful nonsense too, by the way, this goes on all the time with Chopper. So this is spot on too.
Yeah.
It might feel a little cartoony, but it's very typical. Like he's always blaming everybody else for the mistakes that he's made or something.
Right. But I do like the way Chopper throws it by spinning his head around. I thought that was pretty cool. So after she takes out the droid, she takes on the Inquisitor one-on-one. Meanwhile, the dogfight is still going on. And, again, I can't wait till we see the Ghost in action. And there we see, Ahsoka and the Inquisitor back to the Ghost. And see, this is where Hera's supposed to be.
Yep.
Every scene with Hera should be her in doing this.
Yeah.
Being
in a cockpit.
Controls.
Yeah.
And so Chopper's digging around, they're flying, they're fighting.
Now, right there, it's going to be hard to get it back. But one of the moments I really appreciated was how settled Ahsoka's mind is, because that Inquisitor pulls his twin bladed sword back, and she just kind of like ducks out of the way just a tiny little bit to let it go flying by.
Oh yeah, that was a cool little moment.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because she was like doing it like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You're running from me, not I'm running from you. So
Yeah.
although if Wolverine Girl and him were working together, Ahsoka might be
a little harder.
Yeah. So they take off. She's still
and
trying
this is
to get,
where the spin and throw.
Yeah, he does the little spin and throw, and just when they jump away, and Ahsoka's like, "Yeah, you run," and they figure out where they went. I can't remember the name of the planetary system.
Well, Thomas Hart, you could do that in the video games also, because they use the Force. They throw the lightsaber and then use the Force to have it come.
Yeah,
back.
that's a common move, by Force wielders.
Yeah,
like Sabine couldn't do that, but pretty much everybody else could.
Yeah.
But what Sabine would do would probably be throw the lightsaber and then use her built-in whip that she has in her armor to retrieve it.
Yeah.
So Thomas says that this Inquisitor is Ezra. Based on
people are all over the net claiming that it
so.
is, but I don't think so. It doesn't make a lick
If
of
that
sense.
were Ezra, then I think that Ahsoka would have had a much more difficult time with him.
To say nothing of the fact that she would have sensed him.
Yeah.
Because she sensed in the cartoon, she senses Vader, and they're at like serious, kilometers distance from each other, and the two of them sense each other. So there's no way that she wouldn't sense Ezra.
Yeah, I think that people that say that, I get it. They're looking, but remember, Ezra and Grand Admiral Thrawn disappeared together, and we know that Grand Admiral Thrawn is in this other galaxy. So logically, Ezra is in that other galaxy as well.
I'll take your shekels in a few weeks. We shall see.
All right, Thomas, but then I expect a super chat when you're wrong. Yeah. And so she gets out her armor, lays it out.
Yeah, it's like time to put your big girl pants on.
Yeah. And so, and something that's so typical these days, and by the way, this is something they did in the cartoon as well, except it was, what's his name, the Jedi Master. Gosh, I always forget his name.
Oh, you're talking about Kanan Jarrus?
Yeah, is where they grab a knife and cut their hair off.
What's her name? Starbuck did that.
Yeah, Starbuck did it in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's a trope.
It's like this on-screen metaphor for get a haircut and get a real job.
Yeah. And so, meanwhile, why is he even alive and having all his limbs? Why didn't Ahsoka at least cut a couple of limbs off of him?
Yeah, man, you were just hungry for that action to happen, huh?
Well, I'm just saying, she's normally quite ruthless. So, and this is the scene that is then taken right out of the animated series.
Yeah.
Where it is, and I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, this where she walks up to the mural, looks at it, touches it, turns around, and Ahsoka is standing there waiting for her, and then they decide to ride off into the sunset together, quite literally, and then they fly off, and she calls her a Padawan because they're gonna train, I guess. Then we see that they're building some kind of massive hyperspace ship.
Oh, that is a That's a jump ring.
Right, but where they are now looks like it's on a ship as opposed to where they.
No. But that thing in orbit.
Yeah.
If you watch that whole scene,
Well, I know it
over
looks
again,
like it's a
so
jump ring, but it's got
it's a
hyperdrive engines in it.
yeah, but it's a jump ring for a ship, like a ship. Like you could jump like a small Star Destroyer with this thing.
Right, but I'm assuming it works similarly to like the jump rings that the fighters use in the prequel.
That's exactly what it's got to be going on. So they're going to be able to take that thing, plug a ship into it.
Try to get like if Grand Admiral Thrawn has what because I know in the lore, right, he had like dreadnoughts that he got somewhere.
Well, his ship, the Chimera, if it's not destroyed, the intention would be to bring it back.
Right.
So,
and it is a full-size Star Destroyer.
Yeah, it's a full-on ISD-1.
Yeah. But I understand, like in the books, he had like some kind of special dreadnought, and so they could do something like he's gotten a dreadnought while he was in the other galaxy, and they bring it back using this ring. But we'll see in future episodes, obviously. So I think what they're going to do is this ring is kind of a ship in and of itself. They're going to jump there with just the ring,
and then come back with big boat.
Yeah, and then they'll come back with whatever they can get. So
I can't put my finger on it, but that Morgan chick reminds me of someone.
Well, she's a witch. So
there it is.
Let me go look up what else she's been in.
So knowing your past, I'd say just about every woman you've ever known.
She was,
and that pretty much wraps up the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Now, are there a lot of women on this show? Yes. However, the characters are brought over from the animated series, and it makes a lot of sense. B, I don't
have any problem with that as long as that's how it was in the show.
Preempting the fandom menace kind of thing. B, it doesn't. This is not a woke show. Like they're not trying to put down men. There's no agenda apparently. There's no like men bad, women good kind of vibe to it. It's just like I know you were joking about that, but pretty much there were lots of dummies on this show. And I'm sure somebody could put together a compilation that all the white men are dumb.
Well, no, I mean, no, I said all the good ones because Ray Stevenson's character is a badass man,
so. Right?
Yeah,
and he's so white. His facial hair is white.
So and Grand Admiral Thrawn, of course, is a member of Blue Man Group. So
right,
that's gonna be, and I'll tell you, I'm really interested to see how because he is so good. I was not expecting to really like him in Rebels, but they did a great job with him in Rebels.
Man, they make him as sinister as they can take the TV for kids rating. Man, like they just.
They really do because he's just like at one point there's this like the good guys have an Imperial base under their control, right? And all the Imperial troops are trapped in the main building, and so Grand Admiral Thrawn is in a Star Destroyer just above them, and so Ezra's on the comms with him, and he's like, "Okay, I got you. You might as well just surrender now." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "All your troops, all your men are in this building. So you surrender or I'm going to blow it up." And he goes, "Or you can surrender or I'll just start firing every weapon I have into the city, killing innocent civilians. And
not harming any of my people because you put them all in a safe place for me."
And Ezra's like, "You wouldn't do that." He goes, "Well, just to show that I'm serious, okay, start firing. And they just start killing people. They just start slaughtering people just to prove that he's willing to do it.
Oh, wow.
And so Ezra ends up surrendering.
Yeah.
So it's, this guy is not to be trifled with. And
since it's going to be live action on Disney Plus, and they don't really have to be too beholden to ratings, he might.
Well, yeah, in the cartoons,
do even crazier stuff.
Yeah, in all the cartoons, they very rarely ever actually showed Saber contact, absolutely killing somebody. So
it would be implied.
Yeah, it was always very well implied, but it was never shown. It's like kind of like the nobody in anything ever shows kids being dead on screen ever. So much so that when I was rewatching Altered Carbon a couple odd weeks ago, there's a scene in the first season of Altered Carbon where that crazy religious guy with the weird stabby ball thing, for those who've seen that, he goes in and kills the two nephews of the police officer, the main lady police officer in the show. They don't show that happening, and even when the police chief shows up to check out the scene, all they show are legs laying on the ground. They don't show anything, and no carnage, nothing. And Altered Carbon, as you know, Danny, is a very graphic.
Yeah, I hate that they canceled it. I like that show. It was good.
I will tell you, like one of the, it was actually, I think one of the best lightsaber fights ever put to film. Period. Even though it's in one of the cartoons. And it's not particularly graphic, but it's clear that someone dies on it. And that is Darth Maul's last fight.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely very good.
So intense. It's Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan. Yeah. And it's
I think one of you two have shown me this clip because it's by a campfire.
It's old man Obi-Wan, like from the original trilogy. And Darth Maul finally tracks him down, and Obi-Wan shows him, I'm a master now, boy, and kills him in one move. And so but it was like, and the interesting thing is, like, I actually watched a video breakdown of it, which is that if you watch Obi-Wan in it, he starts out by taking the same pose that he makes in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
Right. Then he stops and he changes his pose to the same pose that Qui-Gon used at the beginning of their fight. And the reason he did that was to lure Maul into doing the same move that he did in that fight. And if you watch, that's exactly what Maul does. He spins and does the exact same move, like he's going to try to hit Obi-Wan in the face, just like he hit Qui-Gon in the face. And that gave Obi-Wan the opening, and all he did was slice up, and it broke his saber in half and cut through him.
Yeah.
And, and that was all she wrote. And so it was actually brilliant when you look at it.
Yeah. I love the bit at the very end too. He goes, "Tell me if the boy," or something to that effect.
He says, tell me if he's the chosen one. And Obi-Wan says he is, and he goes, then he will avenge us both.
Yeah.
Because remember, Maul felt betrayed by the Emperor, even though he was evil. He felt like he was betrayed by the Emperor because
he actually didn't even like the title Sith.
Yeah,
because
he didn't consider himself a Sith after he survived being cut in half. He was just a Force user that was neither a Sith nor a Jedi. Kind of like this guy that we're seeing in this is that with Mr. Orange Saber.
Yeah.
So let's do our traditional final thoughts. So now that you and score out of 10 for the opening 2 episodes, now that we've talked them through, any changes? Did you change your mind at all, or?
No, I mean, everything I said is still at the beginning. I mean, still stands. In fact, all you did, you kind of pointed out. I actually didn't put it link the parts that drug out to the Hera. Is that her name? Hera?
Yeah.
The green one?
The green one, yeah.
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 Every time she's on screen, it's like boredom city. That's where the pacing
Yeah.
problem is. Like you
Yeah.
were saying, you felt there was a pacing problem. It's her.
Oh, yeah.
Every time
So-
she's on screen, the pacing.
It's interesting. I wonder, like, anyway, I like the I like the music. I like the visuals, most of them. I'm not like really invested in the story yet, at least not like you guys are, because I don't really know all this backstory stuff going on. But I really do like Ray Stevenson's character, so I'd give this. I'll give it a 6.5. Yeah, I'd say 6.5. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
6.5 for the 2-parter.
Yeah.
All right. And before you go, I want to answer. So, Famous Barrett says, now I want to watch some of Rebels. Any episode? I would say, honestly, watch season 3 and season 4 if you just want to watch enough to be well versed for this show.
Yeah, and if you wanna add a smidge to that, watch the last 2 episodes of season 2.
So Stan's got a
that's where-
question. He's yelling at me. So
Because that's where Ahsoka faces off with Vader.
Yeah. Do you have any more desire to watch the cartoons after our discussion?
not really. Not right.
Yeah.
Not now.
See, Danny is what you call an a-hole.
No.
No,
So,
Not
Daddy's
at
a
all.
realist, because it's like when we brought up the idea of watching Stargate, and he's like, how many episodes, how many seasons? And it was like 17 seasons, and they're full seasons.
Yeah, no.
Good
Yeah,
luck.
that's just a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Now, granted,
you know,
these would be easier because they're probably only like 20 minutes each.
yeah, they're about
20 to 25 minutes of actual content. So yeah, it's 11 seasons of content that would
if you
really
were to
only
watch
be
all
about the
of Clone
same.
Wars and stuff.
Yeah, Clone
Yeah.
Wars and Rebels, which really would be more like about 5 seasons of a normal show.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still a lot to watch.
It's still
And
a lot.
and I can tell
you
you,
know.
it is very bingeable. And if somebody created a list, I would love it. Of, like with Clone Wars, show me all the episodes that are about Padme so I can skip those. Because
Those are slightly annoying, yeah.
every episode of Clone Wars that's about Padme sucks. And I really hate the fact that there's actually, and I'm not even making this up, where you have Padme sends Ahsoka, who's not even a Jedi, she's just a Padawan. Padme sends Ahsoka to Mandalore to save the Mandalorian people from the patriarchy. And
Padme in the
that's
cartoons,
an actual storyline in Clone Wars.
Padme in the cartoons is probably the worst written character in the cartoons.
However,
is unfortunate.
overall, it's really good.
But yeah.
Maybe if I like ask me that question again, Stanley, after we watch this season, and if it intrigues me enough, that would probably be the time to ask me, because like if I end up not liking this show, the answer would definitely be no. I'm not going to go, spend my time.
Yeah.
going
Well,
back
yeah,
to watch
because
cartoons.
why would you do that, really?
Yeah, but if I end up liking this, like if it gets better,
And then you want to get the backstory and learn.
then yeah.
I
So
think
for
that
me-
if they let him out of his little box, you're going to love Chopper.
Yeah, if they actually get him moving around and interacting, so for me, I want to give it about I'm really not willing to give it a whole lot more than a 7 for these two, because the pacing issues were a little annoying. Especially coming off watching 2 episodes of the cartoon last night before going into this. It was actually quite jarring, and I'm sure for you, Mike, where you'd gone through 2 seasons of it across Monday and Tuesday, the pacing change would have been extremely apparent to you. So I kind of ding at some points. Like there's a lot of good in there that I really enjoyed, but the pacing kind of was annoying. So hopefully in the tighter episodes through the rest of the season, it'll come across less awkward. There's a better word to use, because that's kind of what it felt like. It's like, oh look, Hera's here. Everybody get quiet.
Yeah.
So
Dan, do you give it a 6 or a 6.5?
I gave it 6.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a 6.5 and a 7. I'll tell you, I am also going to give it a 7. And the problem is
See, that's funny. Like I haven't seen the shows you guys have, and I only gave it half a point less. So
well, here's my thing: is that I loved I especially since I just finished watching Rebels, it really does feel like this is Rebels season 5, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. I figured you guys would have rated it higher.
That's something that I think is really good. I think that the way they recreated the worlds, except in live action, they did it very, very well. That's a good thing. I think the ship porn in this is mwah. If this was just the ship porn show, it'd be a 10 out of 10. It was just gorgeous to look at as far anytime there was hardware on screen. Yeah. However, Hera sucks green tentacle balls. I really, really hate that character right now, because I liked Hera in the show. She wasn't my favorite character, but I liked her, and she actually has kind of an epic love story, a tragic epic love story in the Rebels cartoon.
Yes.
But in this, it feels like it's her daughter. This does not feel like it's Hera.
It's like they're doing her dirty almost. Yeah,
it really is, because she should be, like I said, she should be Rosario Dawson's age. She should have at least a 10-year-old kid with her, who we did see her kid in the last episode of Rebels. Where the heck is her kid?
See, look at this. Now, Famous Bearer was another dude in my boat. Hadn't watched any of the series. He's giving it a 9 out of 10. So I'm surprised you guys came in so low.
Well, see, the thing is 7 is a very solid score for a lot of stuff.
Good.
I think people throw around 9s pretty, like the best way to put it is this. Empire Strikes Back is all but undeniably the best of all of the Star Wars movies.
I'll deny that.
And there's a few people that would argue that, but for the most part,
I'm a Jedi guy. What can I say?
And when you go on, say, and I don't like Rotten Tomatoes anymore, but when this comparison first came up one time, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and you look at the score that The Empire Strikes Back gets on Rotten Tomatoes, and then you look at some of the movies that get scores that are higher, and you just go and you go, I don't think you think that, really. But
I don't think that score means what you think it means.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, 7 is a very solid score. That's also why, according to Rotten Tomatoes, anything that makes it over 60% or 6 out of 10 is considered fresh. Yeah. So I think going to it, like a 9 for me or a 10 in the storyline of everything with Ahsoka is like the closing episodes of season 7. The closing episodes of season 7 of Clone Wars, if you ball that all together and just do a supercut edit and make it a movie, is freaking ridiculous. And I cry like a little boy at the end every time.
And Famous Bear, what was bad? Every scene with Hera where she's not flying the ship.
So it sounds to me like if basically they just cast a different, more established, older actress with better pacing.
Well, it didn't have to be a more established actress, but definitely an older actress.
Mm-hmm.
And they also need to work on not making every woman stoic. That's not how you make, because she was not a stoic character in Rebels.
No, the only one that
she's
Ahsoka was. Ahsoka is acceptable to be stoic. That's fine. Yeah, but that's the only one.
Which one?
Ahsoka.
Yeah, Ahsoka herself should be stoic. Contrary to what some people say, because they're, oh, she's supposed to be playful and fun. No, that was Ahsoka in the early parts of Clone Wars when she was a little kid. As she grew
and I've
up,
only seen the movie. You know, I
Right.
took my kids to see it way back when. You know,
the
and that was
Clone
before
Wars movie.
Yeah, and that was
Yeah.
before the series came out.
Yeah, she was like
exactly.
a baby in that.
Yeah,
Like
she's like 9 years old or something like that.
Yeah. And so as we see her grow up through Clone Wars and then Rebels, and and now this is the Rosario Dawson is now she's a full-on Jedi. I mean, she's older than Luke.
You got a super chat.
And Arabic, thank you so much, buddy, with a $2 super chat. Anybody seen Blue Beetle that might go this weekend? I don't have plans to see it in theaters, to be honest with you.
Me either. Me either. My mom saw it, said she liked it, and then so
not flying one ship. What ship? The only ship she flew.
Yeah, the Ghost. Constantly.
Yeah, she is the pilot of the Ghost.
Yeah, see, and that's Famous Bear's never seen the cartoons.
Right.
So this is the reason why. Actually, this is a funny thing. Because we have expectations, that's exactly why we're giving it a 7.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but the problem is that if you haven't seen the cartoons, then you're lost. If you have seen the cartoons, then you're like, what is going on at least with this one character?
Yeah,
because they really didn't. They as far as Sabine, I think they did a decent job with, and I think that Ahsoka they did a decent job with, but Hera was off the rails bad. And like I said, when you were talking about the pacing issues, it's every scene that Hera's in. If you pay attention, when she's on screen, the show gets boring. And then it picks back up when we go back to something that she's not in. The only exception is when she's actually flying the ship, which is interestingly what she did on the show. And her interaction with Chopper was a lot of fun, but that was like it was on the show. That was actually that felt so much like Rebels.
I was like, okay, now we're getting what we're supposed to get. Yeah, like the pithy back and forth and more of that, please. Like if there's more of that in the next episode, then the scores will come up and complaints of Hera's casting will go down.
Yeah, I have a feeling that what we're going to be seeing, I don't know if you guys want to make any predictions, but here's my psychic prediction. I think that we're going to see Hera, Ahsoka, and Sabine get on the Ghost to go after them. And
I mean, that makes sense. And so they put the tracker on it. And
I think something foolish is going to happen to Ahsoka's ship.
Yeah.
And then they'll have to use the Ghost.
Yeah, either Ahsoka's ship will get destroyed, or for some reason they'll say it's just too big or the wrong class of ship for the mission.
Yeah, because, of course, Hera modified, just like
the Ghost is a modified freighter, just like
at the wazoo. It's got like sneaky stuff all over it because smuggling and rebels. Yeah. So
it is a really cool ship.
Yeah. So if they put everybody back into that, and then here's the funny thing is Rebels, like many good shows, is an ensemble cast type show, and when there's too few people all together, it makes it hard to get that rhythm going. So if we're really lucky, they'll take the Ghost and go pick up Zeb.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Zeb come in.
Well, the next episode's only going to be like with credits. I think it's like 34 minutes, so it's going to be under 30 minutes of actual, show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Danny, this is the Ghost.
Okay.
And in the rearward part, see that ball turret on the top? In that rearward part back there, there's a spot where that funny roundy shaped ship actually can slot into. So that way they can have like a little runabout.
Yeah. So the ship that you saw her flying with Chopper to throw the tracker with, docked inside the back of the Ghost.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
So this is a
that way-
fairly decent sized ship.
it's about the size of the Millennium Falcon, maybe a little smaller. If you consider, I mean, if you look at it like the front area, that's a human size window,
Okay.
you know. So, but
You
yeah,
see it?
it's a Corellian ship.
Yeah,
So-
it's
and-
actually, I just found a couple of size comparisons, and it is basically the same size as the Falcon.
Okay.
You want to bring it up? I haven't seen a good size comparison of it.
Yeah, here we go. So that's the Ghost on the left, and of course the Falcon on the right.
So Ghost
And
is actually a little bit bigger.
A little bit, yeah.
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 It's fatter vertically, that's for sure, because it's supposed to be an actual freighter.
Right. Well, the Falcon is a freighter technically too, but
Yeah,
it's just a little bit small.
yeah.
That is a
But
weird
the-
ship design, though. I will say that.
The Falcon.
No, I like the Falcon. That's iconic. The Ghost. It's just kind of a weird ship design.
Yeah,
To me, anyway.
well, it's a Corellian ship. You can tell just instantly by looking at the docking, ports left and right.
Yeah. Look on the sides;
just-
they're exactly
Yeah.
the same as the Falcons.
Yeah.
If you notice on the sides,
See
of the
here
Falcon, you
see here on the side of the Falcon,
Mhm.
you got that little divot here and a little here, but over here there's no divot around it, but that's the docking collars.
Yeah.
Those are the same. So it's all these two ships are Corellian. It's just this has got like this kind of diamond shape, whereas this
Right.
is the
And with the Ghost, it's
Frisbee.
symmetrical where the Falcon isn't.
yeah. Although I saw some stuff that canonically there is versions of this YT freighter that the command pod is actually dead center.
Right. That looks weird though, because
Yeah,
you're
it
so
definitely
used to
does.
seeing the Falcon like that.
Offside, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks very strange when you see those. But yeah, they need to kind of get the ensembled.
Yeah.
And,
And as far as Stanley, it seems like from what we see in the show that the Ghost and the Falcon are very similar as far as maneuverability.
yeah,
They're both very maneuverable. Basically, they would be, if you were talking military terms, even though they're freighters technically, military terms, they're a corvette. They're bigger than a fighter, but they're not capital ships. They're like an oversized fighter.
yeah.
And so they're not as maneuverable as an actual fighter, but they're almost as maneuverable as a fighter. They're so maneuverable that capital ships have a difficult time locking onto them. Which notice, like the Millennium Falcon was able to, dodge Star Destroyers even if it couldn't outrun them.
Wonder if they have a Ghost.
And
in
unlike the
there.
Falcon, the Ghost's hyperdrive works all the time.
Yeah, it never. Yeah, it doesn't break.
Yeah, it doesn't break all the time like on the Falcon.
There is a Ghost in Lego.
Probably way too expensive.
Nah, it's not actually too bad. It's only
$500.
it's 200 Canadian, so it'd be about 150 US. It doesn't come out until next month. But
I want to punch
That's not
Major Grin in
horrible.
the face.
uh-oh.
Why?
Oh, he just 46 minutes ago released that xenomorph aliens are similar to Gorn. They are not.
I totally knew he was going to do it because he actually said it in his main review.
I know,
So
but they aren't.
I'll be
They're
watching it.
Nothing like each other.
I'll be watching it when I go to bed.
I got to do that. That's it. Tomorrow, after I do the Battlestar Galactica video, I'm gonna break down and start writing. I got it.
Well, I mean, we did a good job of explaining why they weren't.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
It's not as bad as he's about to try to make it sound,
Right.
but
I'm
I'm sure
gonna-
it'll be
now. I'm gonna have to
entertaining.
call it "Suck on This, Major Grin." But anyway, so that's about that. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. Tomorrow we will be talking about which episode of Galactic are we on?
Yeah.
Look at the thumbnail that I, because I gave you the thumbnails already.
Well, I know you give me the
Easiest way.
thumbnail, but that doesn't mean I
don't
remember.
Well, here I'll look.
It's
Let's
a season 2
see.
episode.
Season 2. Oh, here it is. So it would be, I believe, is it? Shit, I don't know. Is it?
Yeah, that's the name of the episode.
No, because we did
fragged.
Is it fragged?
Yes, because we watched Valley of Darkness, and that was
Which
where
one
we
is
were
Fragged
not
again?
sure.
Fragged is the
Fragged
one
is
where Star Killer gets killed at the end, isn't it?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
still- I forgot we're still trapped on Cobalt.
Yeah.
So
Episode
Fragged is
season 2,
our-
episode 3 is what we're on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll have to make sure we put a good pin in it when we eventually here get to a run of Ahsoka on Wednesday. And are we going to do Lower Decks or
Lower Decks
Star Trek,
on Thursday?
when it
Lower
comes.
Decks, that's this next week,
No, but it's coming
No,
up
it's coming.
soon.
It's coming in September.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
of course we're gonna do Lower Decks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, there you go. So we'll be putting Battlestar on the shelf for a minute.
Are they going to be airing at the same time at all?
Ahsoka
and Lower Decks?
I think they're back to back
Maybe
Let's
only for
see.
a week or two.
1, 2.
because there's one.
I think it's
next
going to be like 2 or 3 weeks.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 for sure, possibly 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so
All of you guys are getting to be privy to which should be a backstage production meeting.
Yeah,
Sorry
I know.
about that.
you
They
got
get
to
to
see
how
this though, real quick.
They get to see how the sausage is
This
made.
is
Right.
I really want this, but it's not going to happen. So check this out. So somebody's trying to do a crowd-funded ghost toy.
Man,
Wow.
that's not little.
Yeah, and look at every detail of it. Like you can see the cockpit and all the rooms.
Wow.
And there's the little ship.
Yeah.
September 7th to answer Stan's question.
Okay, so then it will only be. Wait a minute. Calendars are.
No, it'll be 3 weeks. Maybe 4. Sure. Hold up.
Yeah, 7. 4, yeah. Yeah, it'll be. No, it'll be just 2.
It will?
Yeah, because it's
Next week, 'cause we're getting-
7th.
Because we have
Next-
6 more weeks of Ahsoka, don't we? It's 8 episodes. They're only releasing 1.
9 total, but we got the first 2 already. So
9? I thought it was
So-
only 8.
I thought it was 9. Somebody look it up.
Yeah.
Looking
You're looking.
8. So we've only got 6 left.
Yes,
So we
that's
get-
6 weeks. So we're gonna have
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4.
we're gonna have 4 weeks.
Yeah, so yeah, there's 4.
Yeah, there'll be 4 weeks where we're not doing Battlestar. So
Yeah. Yeah, I was not mathing.
Or
that
since Lower Decks is only a half an hour show, so we could do Lower Decks and Battlestar.
yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, especially with they're too many days apart. I was going to say, since the rest of the Ahsoka episodes are going to only be about a half hour, we could do, Star Trek and Star Wars in the same show.
Or we could just
And
simply
yes,
make.
famous
or
Barry.
we-
So the little ship docks inside the Ghost. So what's the little ship called again?
The Phantom.
The Phantom. So you got
And-
the Phantom, which docks inside the Ghost. And if you watch Rebels, it makes sense.
Yeah, and
So-
technically, this is the Phantom 2 that we are seeing because they lost the original Phantom.
Yeah.
I was going to say if we just
Yeah,
do
it's basically a
the
shuttle, yeah.
if we just do the one show for each day, we actually might stay on the 2-hour clock.
Ah,
Yeah, right. Because we've been consistently hitting 3 hours lately. So
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, except for when you ramble on too much and keep talking.
Me?
Moi?
Yes, you. No.
Us? Anyway.
So you have anything you want to say, Danny? Any announcements or anything like that?
Oh yeah.